And hello, everybody, and welcome to this very special event brought to you by the International Kriegsspiel Society. My name is Dave Pumphouse. I will be your commentator today. Hopefully, I'll be joined by other people on the stage throughout the game of what is going to be a fantastic little event for the IKS, because it is our practitioners invitational. So we're going to be expecting big things throughout the game. Now, as they are practitioners, they are historians and wargamers and academics of a certain caliber, then we'll be expecting them to play rather well compared to the average IKS player. Let's just say that. But let me just take a moment to make sure that we are live, because I am currently seeing nothing on the screen. So this is to make sure that we are there we go. Because we are live. Some of you may have got an echo there because I have my laptop on the side to make sure that we are in fact live. Let me just mute that, because that's how I'll be trying to track all your comments throughout the game. But here we are. Can you hear me okay? Is anyone out there? Is anyone listening? Please, please let me know. Just check the comments here. No comments yet. Everyone's knew that we were running late, so they've thank you, Speglord. Can you hear me? But yes, okay, so let me just tell you more about the scenario. Or maybe I'll wait until Jan comes into the commentary booth and maybe he can tell you all about it. But we are in northern Italy and we are trying to simulate the Battle of Rivoli as best we can here. I'm not entirely sure what system we are using, but I think Jan has devised it, or maybe he's borrowed some stuff from the 1824 rule set. I think I may have read a little bit about that. I'm quite unsure. I only volunteered to comment to be in the commentary booth a moment of hours ago. So yeah, but it looks like it's going to be a 3-against-3 match. I'm not entirely sure of the teams yet, but I'm sure we'll find out. And the players are at this very moment getting told what the experience is going to hold for them and how to submit and write their orders and what to maybe expect from their brigade commanders, because I think we are looking at a core level here. It looks like, yeah, 2 divisions plus core commander. Oh, maybe not. Maybe it's just a division. Maybe it's just a little small division game. I think that's probably right. Yeah, sounds about right. It's a division game, I think. Thank you, Speglord, for saying that you can hear me okay. That's great that at least the audio is working. But yeah, look at this fantastic map. Probably fresh out of the National Library somewhere, I would think. Here's Rivoli here. Whatever this river is. Yeah, let's have a look at the forces. So we have commander here. So the blue looks like it's going to be the French. So we've got Jalbert, and he has some divisional assets of 2 batteries of 8-pounders, 1 battery of 6-pounders, and there's some supply wagons, as well as what I believe looks like it could be dragoons, or it could be maybe lancers. I forget. That's not the. It looks like some light cavalry. Anyway, whatever it is. And then he's got 1, 2, 3, 4 brigades of infantry under Sando and Lebley, and a couple of chasseurs here, and some forward scouting elements to maybe put on the top of some hills here. And the Austrians, let's see what they've got. So they've got roughly the same. They've got some 12-pounders. Now, I mean, at this point in time, I do believe that the Austrians did have some quite nasty, heavy artillery, but they'll obviously be loaded slower by the teams. And 2 batteries of 8-pounders. This is lancers and what looks like hussars, as well as 4 brigades of infantry there. We'll find out who's controlling who very soon, I'm sure. Hope, the river's called the Adige, is it? Oh, nice. I'm glad someone is good at their North Italian geography, because I'm not. But yeah, let's have a look and see how we're doing here. So the umpires have already split into their room, and as have the teams. I'm going to maybe let them have a couple more minutes to set up and sort out their game plan before I start interrupting. Or maybe we could listen in. But I understand that we're going to be going on 2-minute turns. So I'm going to try and maybe figure out if I can try and get some sneaky interviews with certain people and drag them away and ask them how it's going. But yeah, 2-minute turns, it's going to be going rather fast. It's going to be maybe hard to keep up with. So I'm concentrating on the board, and you're not going to be seeing the typical pump house thing where he's pressing Alt Tab and tabbing in and outside of Discord and what have you. And hopefully the stream is of fairly good quality. My internet isn't the best at streaming, I have to admit. The upload speed is a bit crap, and the picture quality sometimes suffers a bit. But I think you'll get a fair picture from that. How does one become a practitioner? Well, that is a good question. AV8R. Some of our players today are either academics at certain universities, I think, and maybe even have military experience. Some have maybe written books on certain periods of history, yeah, I mean, how maybe that's a good question that we'll have to ask our players when we get talking to them. Maybe they won't know the answer either. But needless to say, you need to have some clout behind you to get this invitational from Jan to play this one. And who knows, maybe you'll hear some familiar voices from other YouTube channels and places that you might see. I know we have one player from the Women's Wargaming Network, which is a group of people that works very closely with the IKS and Jan at organizing certain games, and we're getting more involved with them. So that's kind of exciting. And they play far differently to the average IKS player and the Women's Wargaming Network. And that, I think we did actually record that at one point. So yeah, go hunting through the videos if you want to watch that live game, because that was very high caliber play. But yeah, let's let's maybe be a fly on the wall for a little bit. Let's go into the French, and then let's just listen in. Here we go. Well, you're all very quiet in here, I must say. I see. Well, maybe we can quickly do a hot fix, and I'll try and talk you through it. So if you so you fired up Tabletop Simulator, right? You got that working for you at the moment? Unable to sync. Oh dear. No, you'll have to set up your own table,
Where can I select that?
Yeah, unfortunately, I can't see that pop up now, but there should be a no. Hit create again. Multiplayer. I didn't do it. Create server.
Yep. Server name.
Yeah, I did that. Then create server at the bottom.
Oh.
Now there should be a pop-up.
Well, while they're setting up, let's make sure that the sound was okay. Can we now hear what they're saying? I've changed the audio input. Speglord says yes. Was it a how loud was it? Shall we try and get a bit louder, or was it about right? So okay. So now I've changed the input. That it looks like you now can hear them. Fantastic. We didn't want to start the stream again, but as you can maybe heard from the end of that conversation, they're having some technical difficulties actually setting up Tabletop Simulator. Sometimes it's not the best, shall we say, noob friendly. I mean, if you're not very used to Tabletop Simulator, it can get a bit finicky. But once you figure it out, it can be okay. But let's see how Red are doing then. While Blue sets themselves up.
The crossroads here. So I imagine that's this area here. We need to control this area here. And block the road to the south in order to stop the French. Okay, develop an initial plan and issue orders. So where is our start position? Do we tell him where we want to start?
Is our start position? So wait, the brief is. Are we saying in the defense or just an attack?
It looks like we're on the defense. But whether we actually defend or attack is up to us. Like we can make a spoiling attack or something.
That's true.
You know, there's no rules in terms of we have to sit here and wait for him to pick us off piecemeal.
I was mostly thinking in terms of our ability to deploy. Obviously, there's some very convenient natural choke points here for us. So
yeah, I see that right there. Let me ask Jan real quick.
Because I mean, if we control that, I mean, it's going to be really hard for them to get through there if we set up.
Yeah,
Draw some lines on the map real quick.
Yeah, because we also, he could also flank left here. He'd still have a hard time getting in there, but that road network, like, it looks like he could easily bypass us on that road to the left.
So
like, he doesn't have to hit us at Rivoli at all.
So why is that not the only land terrain objective?
Well, it is, but Rivoli's only important because it's a crossroads, as I understand it. So if I'm Napoleon and I see a strong force at Rivoli and I want to bypass you, I would just bypass around to the left.
I agree. I'm just trying to suss out the scoring here how this game's trying to be played here, because it's like if we just have to hold Rivoli, okay, well that's not that hard. We can excuse me. We could find a way to do that very manageably. And I manage that, right? If we're trying to prevent them from like going north, then that's a bit of a different challenge. We could do that.
Mm-hmm.
What is the question?
Jan, where can we deploy, please? What are our deployment limits?
Well, so you're basically coming down the roads that are leading to the south through those mountains. So at Pesina and Caprino.
Okay.
The headquarters assumed to be in Pesina, but as we will fast forward, based on your initial orders, you're basically free to deploy wherever you want.
Okay, so Pesina, because we'd like to deploy around Rivoli and Affi, AFFI or ASSI, but I think that's too far south.
That's a bit too far.
I have a plan. I just need to know the boundaries of our, I guess, southern limit of deployment.
Well, let's say, do you see Gazzoli? That's
Yeah, I see it right here.
If you give it to us, we're going to take it, Jan. So are you sure?
Yeah, Gazzoli, and then this ridge line running basically around Rivoli.
Okay, perfect.
The ridge line running south of Rivoli.
Yeah, I was about to say, because does that ridge line extend south? Because like obviously Rivoli's in a bit of a weird valley.
Well, just say, horizontally where Gazzoli is, the ridge line.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. All right, we got it. Okay, so that being said,
Here's my idea, and then we can shoot it down and then move on to other things. But this is the half-baked things, but short on time. ME is main effort, right? This one's main effort. This is reserve, artillery, cav, choke point, and then, ideally where we'd like to go. So I'm thinking we take the main effort of the defense force along this route to the main effort, deploy them in Rivoli to hold the southern choke point. Meanwhile, we deploy the reserve infantry here, the reserve artillery here. There's an artillery contingent that goes here to hold the Rivoli, obviously. And then we use the cavalry to scout this southern road to see if it's bypassed, but it also screens so that we can get the reserve infantry in place with a harassing brigade, or we can break that down into battalions here. In defense, and also to prevent the flank. But that's like the half-baked general idea.
yeah, I think that's a good idea because, I was definitely you send the cavalry forward to scout and report back. And then we could break up the infantry. I don't know how many infantry we really need in Rivoli, but we can't break up the command. So we're going to have those one infantry in that little valley, the other one on the other side. My only thing is you're putting that artillery pretty far back.
We can move the artillery. I'm not really a Napoleonic tactics.
I was about to say, right, I don't believe Napoleon artillery is going to be effective at that distance. I don't even know if it has the range bar.
No, it doesn't. But I think he meant to hold it in reserve and then go one way or the other. Is that what you were thinking with it?
That, and also this emplacement here isn't really meant to like penetrate any lines. It's mainly to protect the retreat from the harassing.
Can I add to the mess with the green color?
Yeah, you can
yeah.
delete it too, because I'm not an expert with this.
So here's
This is a really good plan. I mean, it's very similar to what I had in mind, and I think we're largely in agreement. Go ahead.
how do I erase?
I'll erase
There we
it
go.
for you.
Thank you.
Okay.
So basically, like, we can deploy it we can deploy around this line. I am very partial to the idea. Well, okay, I mean, if we just take an analysis of the terrain, where are we strongest? Well, obviously holding here is extremely powerful. Here's another general choke point. Let's see, like,
Well, obviously, there are people, guys, are getting set up. Nothing's been really put and laid out and deployed on the board yet. They're still discussing strategy of how they want to get around this, and we start. We have a good few games here at the IKS, and sometimes it does it does take a while for people to get rolling and sort out a strategy, especially when they don't know whether they're attacking or defending, as we've kind of heard from some people. But I'm going to maybe pop back up to the blue team, where it looks like maybe they've sorted out their initial problems with TTS, and looks like they're about to. Yeah, it looks like they're talking about some strategy there as well. So let's see how the other team's now doing. Now, I mean, I know the umpires look like they aren't moving on and doing that much, but let's see if we can now hear more Blues strategy.
Oh, it seems like if we go forward, we just widen our front between the ridges.
Yeah.
It's almost like Rivoli is already kind of at a choke point. So, and then we've got an area, a valley to the left of us that we need to cover. Unless, of course, I
see 3 avenues of approach for Rivoli. There's one that's going down El Plateau to straight down to Rivoli, that you can see the road.
Yep.
There's another pass that goes to Caprino, kind of bears off to the southwest, and then crosses the mountains in the middle and ends up in Rivoli. And then there's one down to Affy, down south,
Yes.
up and over.
But we don't just have to protect Rivoli. We have to protect the road south, according to the task. So I see that he could come across to Garda on the lakeshore and head down that coastal lake road as well. I guess we're meant to defend that as well. Yep. Are we?
Your guess is as good as mine. Let's assume we
Yeah.
are. It's always good to assume the worst in these games.
Yeah. Bonaparte has ordered you to protect Rivoli and the roads, plural, running south. Oh, no, along the Adige. It's the fifth along the Adige. It's a little bit confusing. So that's maybe a question for control. Is do we interpret, because the Adige is the river to our right.
Yeah. I think we just defend the west bank of it.
So it sounds like the shore of Lake Garda is already covered by somebody else, perhaps. Okay. All right. So then Affy, we're trying to hold Rivoli itself. And then the other choke point really is Affy. So if we hold that valley in front of Affy and Rivoli itself, we engage somehow in the field in front of Rivoli, I guess, or try to block the passes.
I think we do this. We've got 2 cavalry units.
Yep, 2 squadrons.
I think we send the one north, straight north, and the other one up to the northwest to those 2 roads. We leave 1 brigade in Rivoli, and we put 1 brigade in Affy.
Hey guys, can you see my screen?
That sounds good as a plan. Let's see.
Let's watch the stream. Oh my gosh, we can. Look at you.
Woohoo! We figured something out.
I believe you figured something out. We are just along the ride.
I touched a bunch of buttons until something happened. So short of throwing my computer against the wall. But I am going to switch. All right. So can you guys see all right? Our forces
Very
here?
well.
It looks great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Awesome. All right. What's the plan that you guys came up with while I did the check?
So, in summary, we've interpreted our instructions as having essentially to guard the area between Rivoli and Afi.
Okay.
That we don't have to worry about either the river area across to the right or the lakeshore to the left. That other troops are dealing with that. The Austrians are coming from the north. We have to guard both Rivoli itself and the road south. So, and we're going to use our 2 squadrons of dragoons to go ahead and scout forward to the north and northwest across the ridge line to try to make contact with the enemy and report back, I presume.
The 2 roads leading out of Rivoli.
I see
The 2
it.
roads
So-
leading out of Rivoli northwards, and move 1 brigade to Afi. And I'm just wondering, so we have 1 brigade has more cavalry, and then we've got some artillery. It just, if we're in Afi and posted with artillery, there's really only one approach. It seems like artillery, a little bit of artillery would be very effective holding that narrow neck. And then Rivoli, we're just going to have to do some maneuver. So maybe that's where we keep our cavalry that's attached to the brigade.
Yeah,
Does that make sense?
I think we send the brigade without cavalry to Alfie
Yes.
with a couple batteries of artillery, and then we leave 1 battery in Rivoli with the brigade with artillery.
Okay, and that's good. And then the other question, I think that's all good. And then I guess the other question, just to throw it out there, is since there are 2 passes leading south to Rivoli before the enemy gets out onto a plain, should we try to block those passes with anything more than our dragoon squadrons? And I suppose if we don't want to split up our brigades, the answer is no, because we only have 2.
Yeah, we don't got a lot of troops, and I worry if we set them off piecemeal, they'll just get chewed up.
All right, so we hold at Rivoli itself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's good.
That sounds good. Do I need to draw anything on here, or are those orders conveyed verbally to whoever pops on our channel?
I don't know. We
Yeah.
have Dave here. How does that
Dave,
work?
do you know? Do we have to write our orders, or can we just? execute?
I'm just the commentator, so I'm just the fly on the wall, just listening to you guys
All
to
right.
sort out your technical problems and what have you. But I think maybe when Jan pops back and tells you that we're starting, I think you should have your own individual channels. Let me just double check here. You do
Right,
have text
so-
channels, invitational blue, and
I can start writing.
yeah, I think if
Two
Betsy,
squadrons,
I think if
Okay,
you
so-
start laying out your initial deployment, that would probably help.
Okay, well,
Brigade
just-
Sando is the one that we are keeping at Rivoli, looks like, because it's got the chasseurs, a cheval.
Well, now I'm gonna have to show my uneducatedness of being like, which pieces are which here.
Okay, so let me go look at your stream again. Okay, so let's start with the two dragoons. So if you go to the right, you'll see 2 little cavalry units there, that one and that one. So we've gotten them from another division. So we want to send one of each of those squadrons along those northern roads to scout over the ridge and try to make contact with the enemy and report back.
Okay, so up here close to Villa.
Well, I think the main dark road's one's going directly north. That one, yeah. So we're
All
going
right,
to
how
send them
far
up
up?
that way. Well, at least to the pass, if you can get there. To
All the way
the
up to the pass.
yeah,
School.
look further north even is where I would.
That goes.
And
far
either of you, I'm just kind of interpreting what we've been talking about. But
That's
yeah,
nice spot
that's
right
what I was. Something like that.
Some of the high
Get a view
ground.
of the high ground and get a view of that valley on the other side of the ridge that we can't see.
Mhm.
And
Right.
then the same to the northwest.
Probably up to the crossroads. A little further. There you go.
Right up there.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. Then you see to the left, we have these 2 larger groups of 12 or 14 units. Yeah. So those are, I guess, our 2 brigades. Sando is the one with cavalry, I think.
Yep.
And the other one, the one with cavalry, we're going to leave at Rivoli. That's our main defense of Rivoli. But the other one, we're going to march to Affy and I guess draw a line.
Right. Well, while the blue team are sorting themselves out, it looks like the French are, in fact, defending Rivoli, told to guard the road south from a trajectory from Alfie to Rivoli here. So they've got a fair bit of grounds to cover with not a great deal of forces. But just as a commentator's point of thing, this little spot here, if you put maybe some artillery right here, that's at least covering one avenue of approach. So obviously I couldn't say that to the players there, but obviously when it comes to Kriegsspiel, knowing the ground and reading the map really does help. But I guess we'll see how they get on with their deployments. Let's go back to the red team and maybe chat with Marshall and the gang and see where they're at with deployments while Jan sorts blue out.
I think you have. It should take them longer to hike up here.
Yeah, the valley should be the reserve force to hold the pass for whatever happens after the tactical engagement.
I think that so this arrow right here should be in. If your artillery egresses to that second yellow line there, it should be it might actually be a good idea. Obviously the problem with anything here is
it's so
they. Well, yeah. So with the sorry, what does the 4 on this unit mean? There's a 4 on that.
Which one? Oh, that probably means there's 4 guns in the battery.
Okay.
Yeah. I was thinking I could give you both a squadron of Lancers, but I don't know that I could break up the unit or should.
Nah.
I was thinking I can have Lancers also in the rear, so if there is any kind of breakthrough, they can countercharge, and then that would give us an opportunity to withdraw. On the other hand, if they retreat, then we send in our Lancers to go to work. But I think they should go over here on the west side, where the terrain's a little more open anyway. I would like to have cavalry in both, but I don't think we can have our cake and eat it too. I have a feeling they're going to push west, unless there's some compelling reason.
It would be something.
Yeah.
The only thing I'm concerned about over here, because I have a decent plan, I think now, is this right here, right? Because if they do that, then I'm going to have to pull the reserve, and then everything's going to have to,
Yes. Well, again, if I'm doing my job, the cavalry is out there. Now, look at that terrain down here in the south, right around here.
Yeah.
This isn't easy to get through, So, actually, I'm trying to.
Yeah, that's just worst case scenario. I don't think it's possible. There's also stream in the valley, too.
And then the black stripe on these blocks is your front.
Oh.
Just so you know, it's the other way. Yeah. And you just hit Q or E. Yeah. And you can, Q or E will rotate.
I just use my.
Okay.
All right. So we start writing our plan now.
Just for really, really quickly. So I have this command piece that's the weird little shape. It looks like an upside down.
Now that is your avatar. That's you. In person. So where that piece is, that affects what you see and who you can communicate with and all that, unless they're just going to let us hang out here in one channel, which they might, which is sort of an easy way to play.
I do believe this is a staff game, Marshall, so I think you are going to be in one channel, if that helps.
Okay, that does help. Okay.
Also, quick question. So with when it comes to my side, I have an artillery piece that's deployed on a ridge, on parallel with my main force. I'm debating just having. I'm not sure if it's realistic to expect it to be able to scurry back here. If there's engagement.
Where at? Your artillery up here.
To that yellow line. I don't know if that's a realistic expectation. Because it's on a it's on a ridge, right? It should be able to shoot like here.
Yes. They'll probably let you do that, and then yes, you could withdraw it. Yep. Yeah, and in fact, that's probably not a bad idea. The only issue is if you need to move it far, you're going to be moving kind of over terrain. But
it shouldn't be. The mountain, getting down the mountain is going left here, and that.
I don't think these hills are very tall either. I don't know what the elevation change is on the hash marks. There's little brush strokes you see to make the hills, and each one of those generally represents so many meters of elevation.
How is your planning progressing? Do you have initial orders for me?
Yes, I believe so.
Do you want to just tell them,
start typing them up?
Okay, well, I can actually send you a screenshot. Let me move this here. This is what we want to do in terms of where we want to move everything. I'll post that in our text channel. Let me see here. Invitational red text channel. Okay, I'm going to post it like this. So basically, we're starting behind the line with Rice in the valley and Kevin in Grizzoli and me right there with Kevin. I'm running the cavalry. I'm sending my hussars forward to basically screen with the vedettes. I think these are vedette blocks.
Can you tell me which brigade as well?
Yes. Okay. I can actually screenshot that as well. But
just quickly tell me.
Okay. So let's start at the bottom. One Erodi or whatever, Erodi, will be his objective is to move south of San Pietro, which is on the right. Let's see here. You might want to join our table. And then he's got a vedette out front. Do you see that? I'm going to share my screen, so you have that option as well to look at it.
So the
I
prefer out there in the very south. Yeah, I see that.
I prefer that you you look at it because our what's it called? Our deployment's quite specific. Right?
Yeah, I did post a screenshot in the channel, and then I am live streaming. Number 2 will be somewhere between Canova and Mott, M-O-T-T-E.
Yep,
Number 3 will be. I'm sorry, what?
I have that. Please tell me where you put the infantry.
Oh, okay. The infantry is going to go. Well, go ahead. I'll let the infantry guys speak.
Okay,
Kevin?
Yeah, so 2 Huff and 3 Huff is going to be deployed in the valley. It's in the choke point south of, I think that's Tasso. And there are 6 battalions total. And then to the east of them, the artillery on the ridge is 8 leader with 4 guns and 12, I think that's LBR as well, pounders with 4 guns.
12 pounders. And which of the infantry brigades was that? Corpus or the other one? Liptide, what is it?
2 Huff and 3 Huff is to the west of that. To the southeast of the artillery is 1. Okay.
Got it.
And then to the north of all that in reserve is half of one of those brigades. It's 3 done.
Well, the guys are still setting up. It does take a little while, and while Jan whips them into shape, I guess I'm going to maybe talk about how Red is interpreting the current situation. Marshall has been elected to be in charge of Red. I don't know whether that's a mistake right off the bat, but But I think he's expecting Blue to be deployed a lot further south than it looks like that they will be. But I am actually, in fact, joined by James now. Hello, James. How are you? Welcome. They're still setting up. I wish I had more to say. Are you there, James? You're unmuted, but I can't hear you. Oh dear, James isn't there. Well, so yeah, here we go. Oh no. Oh, technical difficulties for you too, huh? Oh dear. Maybe your mic's not working, but don't worry, you'll figure it out. So yeah, let's have a look and see what's happening here for initial deployments for Red. It looks like he's got his light cavalry out scouting, which you should be doing in this type of march to contact type of situation. He's got a brigade each coming down these lines, these roads rather at Kazoli, and let's try and find a name that we can read. For Neil. So they're going to be maybe deploying very thinly in this valley here. I think this is quickly going to become the valley of death, especially if the French deploy any batteries on this relatively high ground up here at Kosh. That can be pretty deadly. But let's see if the French see that, and maybe when Jan gets to putting the deployments for Blue down, maybe we'll find out. But Blue, on the other hand, have actually sent 2 squadrons of their cavalry up in these little passes here. It looks like they're really expecting the Austrians to come straight from the north. But I imagine the commander of the French will probably pull that squadron back pretty quickly once he realizes that the Austrians have kind of bypassed and decided to come at them from the west and the south. So we'll see what happens there. But looks like we're going to be in for a treat as 2 battles in one occur far away from one another. If I had to guess, I'd probably say that's probably at least a good 3 or 4 miles away from one another, as these 2 forces will eventually get into contact. But yeah, it looks like any moment now we'll be rolling with these 2-minute turns. We've been going for 40 minutes now, and if a Tovsky was here, he'd be tearing his hair out. He'd be like, "What is going on, Jan? Why are we not starting?" But that's a Tovsky for you. Otto, if you're out there and want to join the channel and tell me how you're thinking about this game and how it's going to go, feel free. But maybe considering it's a Saturday night, you're down the pub, and I wouldn't blame you. But here we go. Looks like the Austrians now here with Huff's brigade is in line about half a kilometer away from its forward cavalry coming down there, and Dawn. Oh, James, you're back. Is your mic working now? Ah, fantastic, you're there. Oh, well, I was just saying to the audience here, and for anyone who's going to want to watch this at a later date, if Otto was here, he'd be tearing his hair out, saying, "What's the hold up? Why are we not set up? Why are we not playing yet?"
I think we're almost an hour into it, right?
I know, right? I know. I mean, maybe Jan will get his master umpire medal stripped.
You gotta be playing within half an hour to be a master.
That's right. But in any case, maybe that's just because our practitioners, they're not used to TTS. They don't come and play every week like some of our more experienced players. But once we do get rolling, I'm sure those 2-minute turns will turn out a dream. And actually, it probably looks like the umpires are moving bit by bit. And now, we can have a look at how Leverly's brigade down down near Affy has set up. I don't know if you're watching
A
the
nice
stream,
model.
James, or and I would
can
try
see
and stream it to Discord as well, so you could see it in the commentary booth. But I don't want to slow down the stream on YouTube. They deployed artillery to their front of their line. Do you think that's a fair idea for an opening gambit, or would you like to maybe see that artillery on the higher ground at Kosh? You're an experienced player. What would you do?
Let's see. I'm looking for where Kosh is.
If you
I just realized this is the Rivoli map, isn't it?
It is the Rivoli map. They are, yeah.
Well, no, he's in a very nice bottleneck kind of choke
I
point
know.
there. So
Yeah.
I think where he's got the artillery is fine. It's gonna if anyone wants to charge him, they're gonna have to face canister shot coming in.
That's true.
So I still don't see where Kosh is, but I think it's a good defensive position for sure. And I guess he's going to be, well, he's quite numerous. So he's got those two, or those regiments or brigades coming in right on top of him. And then they've got Jobert is over off to the east by Rivoli, I guess.
Yeah, that's right. Jalbert and Sando are protecting Rivoli.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be, I mean, so far it's looking like it's just going to be a slug out fight right in that choke point.
Yeah, it's going to be the Valley of Death for sure.
Now, if I were Red, I don't know how much time they have, but they could move around that Monte Moschelli or whatever that is and come around in the rear of Blue. Probably be worth it just to, it might take an hour to do, but.
Yeah, it could be worth it. It could be worth it.
Either that, I mean, there are lots of little, you can see the dotted roads off into the hills to the east. It's not impassable in that direction. So you can, instead of taking them straight on, you kind of actually position yourself up on those hills and then force him to either move or come to you. Of course, that might be positioning themselves right between, let's see, that's Lebley and Sando. So if Sando's there, yeah, that might be a bad move, putting them right between them. So I guess this is traditional where the whole team is together as kind of a staff and they're doing
that's right. Yeah.
2-minute umpire turns, but they're only getting updates whenever updates pour into their HQ or whatever.
Yeah, that's right. But I think maybe Blue is probably still working out exactly how they want to deploy Sando's brigade over here, or maybe they're just kind of camped up.
They're just staying in parade formation or something.
Yeah.
Waiting for orders. Well, they do have cavalry. I see they've sent cavalry out on the main roads, both north and northwest. Oh, there's more red. I hadn't even noticed that up there. So red's crossing over the hills.
Yeah.
So they got one brigade, regiment, division coming straight at Sandos, looks like. But his cavalry, you'll see it pretty quickly on.
So we have a dispatch here from Lebley over by Affy to his commander. It says, "Sir, I've reached Affy and have deployed my brigade as ordered between the two ridge lines. I can see Habsburg cavalry approaching from the north. I'm in excellent defensive position." So yeah, he's fairly confident that he'll be able to hold that ground, and I guess we'll see what Marshall and the gang decide on doing there. We've got a dispatch from what looks like Koblos's brigade here to his to Marshall, in fact. So it says, "I've reached Seredetto and I'm moving in the direction of Montolto on the other side of the hills. Enemy cavalry is in front of me, holding the road." So yeah.
Dispatches.
Yeah.
I don't know if they have times on them, but very succinct and informative. So
yeah. And then we've got another one from
There's another
Lippe.
one.
Two brigades have split in and have split in half, I suppose that's supposed to say, and are making their way south. A sizable French force has been spotted around Monte Manzcali. Right, okay. Well, it's good that we're rolling and pieces are moving. Shall we maybe go tease Marshall and see what he's up to?
Sure, let's go get more.
Let's make the stream now entertaining.
All right.
Where's in the turn if they're marching in road?
Yeah,
in a
they're each
column.
100 paces.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and now I don't know how long the turns are, but
It's
they could go.
2-minute turns, I believe, Marshall. But how's it going? Now
Oh,
that
it's
it
going
looks like we've
fantastic.
started.
Yeah.
I'm feeling pretty
So
comfortable.
the cavalry should, if the cavalry does its job, it's going to see for us, and we're going to see right away what they're trying to do. So, yeah, the cavalry has to do its job. If it doesn't do its job, then I guess we're going to eat horse burger for dinner.
Who are you playing?
They're already
Marshall?
doing that.
I think I'm playing me. I don't know who I'm playing. I'm supposedly this guy here on the left, Alvinsky or whatever. But we're really playing as a staff, so that's really just kind of the headquarter avatar. We're all kind of playing equal. I'm not giving too many orders. I don't think we're just just kind of sitting around the table and doing it together, kind of like we're probably going to end up doing next Saturday to some degree.
What's your actual objective, Marshall?
We're supposed to hold the Rivoli Valley, that crossroads to be exact. There's a crossroads there behind Rivoli, and it's my understanding we're supposed to hold that. But my problem with that is an enemy. I don't see why a person has to take Rivoli at all. They could bypass it to the left. So they've got options, and we want to make sure they don't bypass to the left. In fact, we're almost expecting them to do it, because getting to that pass at the bottom of the valley there to get to Rivoli is going to be really tough. Such a small frontage.
I'm
So,
kind of
do you know if
confused
you're-
by what we've been told a second ago. I'm sorry to interrupt the other people here, but is he suggesting that there's enemies in the valley that we wish to deploy it?
Okay,
I'm
we
just-
have a
We're not
we
sure
have
what it means.
we have a report. The report to Army headquarters at 3 p.m. says vedettes encountered French vedettes blocking the valley north of Affy.
That means they'd be
there seems to
blocking
be a
here?
division deployed.
That means they'd be
From
blocking.
In the document, no, sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, so if you take a look at Invitational Red Text Channel, you'll see a screenshot. And the
Yeah, no,
screenshot,
I see it. I read it.
yeah. So that is where we're at. So it looks like they may already be up this valley or a
Yeah.
certain way. So it looks like there's a division deployed. I don't
If
know
they
if that
have a
means-
division, if they have a division deployed, then they likely, because you cannot deploy a division here. You'd have to be like right here.
Yeah, well, we don't have eyes on it. So what we need to do is, okay, and we've got,
Because we have a division in our planning where we put art. Is that that's a division?
I'm confused now.
no, that's okay. That's okay. I'll sort it out. I'm going to put everything on the map the way it is, more or less in the screenshot. I don't know where this other.
So James, as we can see there, Marshall, not exactly sure what's going on. I would say in the first instance, it's what did you make of that?
It sounds like I'm reading through his briefing now to see what he should know or does know. So they've been told to take the area of Rivoli, more specifically the crossroads. I'm guessing it's referring. Is he referring to the main? Because you got the main value. Sorry, the main valley going along the river, and there's that one kind of choke point just northeast of Rivoli. Is it that, or is it the entirety?
I thought he was talking about the crossroads. He said south of Rivoli, so I'm thinking maybe it's over at Mott. Like there's this crossroads here, like almost like a T junction. But I mean,
I'm reading through it right now, and I'm not seeing. You're the commanding officer of Vincina's staff. You're located in Vicina. Your coordinate effort, your sources, your scouts report that the Devil Bonaparte's vanguard is arriving along the Adige River from the south. Your objective is to take the crossroads at Rivoli and block the road to the south to stop the French.
so yeah,
So
block
the
the road to the south, I guess. So I mean, yeah, the crossroads at Rivoli, fair enough. Yeah, it's probably where this brigade of Sando then is currently at. But anywho,
So all I know is Bonaparte's coming, but nothing about deployment. So I think they're going to be surprised to find they're already well deployed in that valley right there.
yeah, let's go to blue and see if they're having a better time understanding what's going on. Shall we?
6-pounders to the side or in front?
You wouldn't put them in front because you could overrun if they got cavalry.
I'm referencing my Napoleonic advisor who's sitting
to
there.
to right flank.
Right, fine, sure.
That's our better.
Brigade Sando deploy line with 6-pounders to right, defend Rivoli. That's what I put in here.
How's it going, guys?
It's going.
It's going. Is it frustrating? Or what's going on?
The tech has been a little frustrating. The game is interesting. Yeah, we were just kind of figuring out where the Austrians could be and making it up in our heads what they're doing, which may or may not be accurate.
What do you think that they're going to be doing?
Well, we've just heard they're coming down through the Montalto Pass, so we think they're moving directly to Rivoli now. That's my impression.
Okay.
Do you have any other guesses as to the Austrian position?
The dispatch that came to us, it came, you said, from the cav unit on the northwest.
Montalto, wherever that is.
Mutalto. I believe that is right here.
Yep.
You guys see it?
So we should probably move that cab unit because it's going to be in between Rivoli and Montalto if they're coming that way.
Yeah, I just want to know too, like, did the dispatch come from him? Because if he didn't see that coming, they're coming, he should have seen that coming, right?
It came from 115 Dragoons.
Yep.
Strong enemy column pushing through pass at Montalto, falling back. So I don't know. You're saying we want to withdraw other cavalry?
No, just I thought that unit probably needs to move back because they say they're withdrawing.
Yeah, they're falling back. Yeah, I guess they know their business. So the question is whether we want to do anything else to react to that. Do we want to do anything else at Afi or with any of the other cavalry?
I think you want to send the cavalry unit we have in between Gazzoli and the Diavola. You want to send that to the northeast to see
scout northeast.
Yeah, scout northeast. Let's see if that's their main push or not.
Okay. Okay, we have something from Lebley, who is, Sir, I have reached Afi and have deployed my brigade as ordered between the two ridge lines. I can see Habsburg cavalry approaching from the north. I'm in excellent defensive position. Okay, so they're at least scouting south to Afi as well.
Mm-hmm.
Do we still want to try and do something with the little chasseurs?
I'd move them to that mountain pass to the dunes.
We'll try. Do we want to tell Lebley anything?
You want to move him, this guy, all the way, sorry if I can pick him up, through here?
Yeah. It sounded good when I thought about it. Now, as I
What
said, I
about
don't
just more general scout northeast? They'll
Yeah, I
Just-
think
yeah.
report location of Austrians or something like that, because they're
Yeah.
going to hit
Yeah.
that cavalry. They're going to hit its cavalry screen anyway.
And are we calling this dragoon back?
I think we want that dragoon just to fall back as the Austrians push them.
Which they're going to do that.
Yeah,
Sounds good.
They're doing that. They said.
and just keep reporting back to us.
East. Report. Okay.
And then I would leave the other one in its same spot, and then we'll see if we get any more. And then I would probably send him up north into the west to see if we can get the tail end.
Should we go ahead and send him an order now?
Yeah.
Can you see what the unit name is on that?
Oh, James. So, yeah, contact up at Montalto, and yeah, Red's coming through that little mountain pass there. And you were right in that someone was going to take these little goat tracks through the valleys here, and looks like poor old Lively might get hit in the flank in a short while. But interesting there at the end, I thought that Miles was immediately thinking of pulling this far northern dragoon back in order to maybe harass whatever's coming over the hill there. Interesting first kind of encounters, would you not think?
Yeah, so they're both starting to get reports about where the enemy is. Probably not, they don't have a complete picture, but at least have a pretty good idea now, so they're starting to react to that. I think there's always a tendency that as soon as you see the enemy, you want to pull all your cavalry out their back, but it's risky because you want your cavalry scouting, and if you pull them back right when there's another enemy column you don't know about heading that way, then you might not know about it and blow your whole plan. So it's I don't think it's wrong to leave that out there and keep scouting around just in case. It does look like they have a slight cavalry disadvantage though, because they have those 2 units of dragoons. They have some chasseurs with them at headquarters, but the enemy has 4 squadrons of looks like hussars, but then 2 lancer squadrons in reserve that could be used quite effectively if used well.
Yeah.
But it looks like around Rivoli, I don't know if they gave the order or if it's just happening now finally, but they're kind of deploying in a defensive formation just to the west of Rivoli. Yeah, the interesting thing will be for Lebley. Of course, he's already started firing at the cavalry that was coming down the valley.
Yeah.
But if he's not careful, he'll be hit on the flank, and that could prove disastrous for him. So we'll see how that goes.
It's almost like you need a sound effect umpire as well, because you know, in the time that we've been kind of listening in on the blue team's staff there, those cannons have been firing, and red has been moving up. So I mean, I would think any moment now that the umpires would at least be telling them that they can hear cannon fire coming from the west, but I guess we'll see.
Yeah, it looks like they've not been notified of that, but unless they've done it verbally, but yeah, you're absolutely right. As soon as those cannons started firing, they should have been notified of it down southwest.
Yeah, but yeah, it's interesting how things are slowly moving along. I think maybe we should probably take this in this time. I mean, I know, yeah, we're already an hour and whatever into the stream by now, but I think maybe we should try and introduce the teams, or at least let them introduce themselves.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, I know they were setting up, and I didn't want to interrupt and kind of, you know, be that annoying commentator. But yeah, I think maybe let's go to Red and let them maybe introduce themselves whilst they still can.
Okay, let's do that.
and if we're strong there, then I just think it's going to be the most logical choice.
Hello,
Okay,
gentlemen.
I
Hello.
put enemy blocks. Hello, Dave. And their
Thank you,
vedettes out where they actually are, more or less.
We think, yeah.
So, where is our position? I think we moved it. Did you move your blocks?
Don't move my battalions.
It needs to be rotated.
Yeah,
No,
but
black
these
is
have
the
to be
front.
on the left side of the stream for a reason.
Sorry to interrupt, gents. I know we're an hour into the stream, and I know there was setup problems, etc. I'm just going to make you guys introduce yourselves, as this is the practitioners invitational, if you will, because I'm sure there's people out there who maybe want to know who you are and what you do and what makes you a practitioner. Shall we start with you, Marshall?
Oh my gosh. I just play at being a practitioner. I love dogs. I don't know what else to say. I've been into Kriegsspiel for a long time. I started this org. I enjoy playing Kriegsspiel. In fact, the entire reason I started the org was because I was tired of umpiring it and I wanted to play it. And now it looks like I get to play. And I'm in my first, well, I don't know, it's not my first real serious game, but this is a really cool serious game, and I'm excited to be here. So.
Nice. Kevin, tell us a bit about yourself and what you're doing here.
Yes, I'm an independent contractor for Matrix Games. I work for Marine Corps University right now. I actually got invited spur of the moment as a replacement, and I'm just kind of getting some Kriegsspiel experience.
Nice. Rice, after you.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm Rice. I play war games with Kevin a lot. We've done very expensive work together, and I've talked a lot about war games over time. I do some light war game development for companies associated with Matrix Games, and I also am a huge hobbyist war gamer, and of course, fan of history as well. So this is kind of a fun way to explore that hobby.
Excellent. Well, thanks a lot. Let's ask you. Well, what do you think's going on at the moment?
If I may, we have encountered an issue where we had and this was kind of in the back of my mind the whole planning phase. We had an overly ambitious assumption as to where we'd be able to reach without engaging the enemy. So now we're trying to figure out how to deploy based on our new information to take advantage of a situation we didn't expect. I think it's under control personally. The others might agree or disagree, but we'll see what happens. Could be a disaster, could work out well for us either way, because we just don't have that much information right now. And that's how it goes. So
Okay, so yeah, it says here we got a report that the cavalry have not engaged, the enemy have pulled back. And that's from Liptay. I don't know who or where Liptay is, or if that's a person or if that's a location.
Liptay is
What's Liptay?
one of your brigade commanders, I believe.
And which one is he, though? Oh,
He
there's
is-
Kolbos. Okay, so Kolbos says...
He's mine.
if you don't mind, just for the convenience of the war gamers, we might have to steal the spotlight for a second and just really concentrate on writing out this order, which we're supposed to do now. Kevin, if they've pulled back, should we could try to assume the original plan? My main concern is
Yes. Original plan. Stick with the original plan. Like I said, don't give up the original plan until you know that it's no longer going to work.
I'm
Don't
partial to
assume
that.
it's not going to work. Yeah,
I'm
okay.
partial to. Hold on a second.
And then on the right from Liptay, is that no Kolbos? We have a dispatch from Kolbos 304. I reached Credetto. Where is Credetto? Where is Credetto? Where is Credetto? I don't see it.
Benedetto, it's north of you, north of Rivoli.
Oh, no way. We have troops way up there. Oh, my goodness. Okay. So they're not even close to Rivoli.
What?
Oh, boy.
That's
Okay.
lovely.
Well, all right. So these units here.
Oh dear, Marshall doesn't know what's going on. He wasn't expecting that he was going to have a brigade that far back. Oh dear. What do we make of that?
I'm going back to his preparatory documents to figure out. So he's told when he's given Lipte and Koblos. Koblos is the one that just sent that dispatch.
Yeah.
Of course, they stood there and said it at though. Of course, that was a few minutes ago, and it took a while to reach them. But did he know that they were going to be up there? He may not have.
I think maybe that's just, maybe that's just how the umpires interpreted deployment. Perhaps I know they were keen to kind of get on and start playing after about half an hour, but in any case, I mean, it sounds that a lot of surprises for Red in the way things are going. Shall we maybe go into blue and let them introduce themselves before everything gets engaged and people start running around like headless chickens? Let's go to blue.
One problem is a courier taking an order up that road. I mean, there might be Austrians right now between us and that cavalry unit as well.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt Team Blue. How are things?
Peachy.
Yeah,
Excellent.
Well, exciting. We think we have a major column headed for us at Rivoli. And so we've taken the risk to take our 2nd Brigade and advance north in hopes that it won't meet major opposition and we'll be able to come across a pass and fall on the enemy rear. We'll see if but that could really bite us if the Austrians are actually moving in force to Rizzoli.
Interesting. Well, as this is the practitioner's invitational game, I'm going to now allow you, after an hour of the game starting, to maybe introduce yourselves. I know, I mean, at the beginning, I kind of just was a fly on the wall and allowed you to do your setup and technical problems. But please, ladies first. Betsy, who are you, and why are you joining this game?
I owe Jan many favors. That's why. But yeah, I'm a professional wargamer. I work at the Institute for Defense Analysis doing professional wargaming. I'm also the head of programming for the Women's Wargaming Network, the co-chair for Connections Next Generation, and a member of Georgetown University Wargaming Society. So I do lots of wargaming, and I got an opportunity to work with IKS a little through Women's Wargaming Network. They hosted a fantastic Kriegsspiel game for us that I got to commentate, and I didn't get to play. And I really wanted to play. So Jan was like, let's fix that. And he's been begging me to hop on one of these games on a Saturday for a while, and this was a Saturday that finally opened up. So I'm happy to be here with some awesome people and check it out from the playing side.
Well, welcome. Miles, who are you and what are you doing here?
I am probably the least qualified of my Team Blue members. I'm Miles Reedy. I'm part of the group that puts out the LittleWarsTV YouTube channel, which means we play war games with toy soldiers, which is frowned upon by some of your members, but it's what we do. And in real life, I run a venture capital fund, and in pretend life, I command little toy soldiers.
Excellent. And Volko, same question to you.
I'm a retired U.S. foreign affairs analyst and a longtime commercial board war game designer, published through GMT Games. I saw Jan's invitation to a Kriegsspiel game on social media and stepped forward. I've known for a long time what Kriegsspiel was and that the role it played in history, but I've never actually played it. So this is my chance to have a look at it.
Excellent. Well, glad to have you all with us. How are you finding the game so far? Kind of discounting maybe the original setup. What are you thinking?
I'm having a blast pretending where the Austrians are. I got no clue where they are, but that's not slowing me down from making plans.
Your cavalry hasn't come back with much then?
I'll come back a little bit, but I don't see any Austrians on the map yet.
it does seem to have served its purpose to have identified at least one strong column. And of course, the concern is what we don't know and whether the accuracy of that information. I think the chances are better than even that we're committing a tragic error at this moment.
Everything's gonna be fine. I am definitely starting to think that maybe our cab units might not be in the right location. But there's also that fear of moving them and then leaving other areas uncovered. But I'm wondering even if we could be a little creative with our dispatches and tell our cabs, hey, if you have any suspicion or you see any dust clouds in the distance, why don't you go check that out and let us know if it would behoove you to be in a better position. So it's just kind of weighing the pros and cons of what we see, what we're getting, and how much appetite for risk we really want to accept here. There's a lot we don't know.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Okay, James, let's take it back to the commentary box for a moment. But thanks for your time. We'll be hopping in and out throughout the game, I'm sure. But catch you soon.
I think
And
this means you're going to make fun of us now.
No, never. No, that's Marshall, you know. But thanks, guys.
See you soon.
Thank you.
A bit more calm and collected in blue, even though they think that they're making the mistakes. But what do you think?
Yeah, both teams are freaking out. Neither has very much information, so they're trying to make big decisions with very little information, which is always difficult.
Yeah.
I think, Red, we heard, had entire brigades in positions they didn't know about, so they're figuring out where they are first and then the enemy second. And same for blue. I think blue has a better idea of where they are, at least. They know that Lebley is down in that valley, but not a good idea of the enemy position. I think they know about that column that's, as we can see, is coming right down on top of them from the north, just northwest of Rivoli. But I don't think they know of the main enemy formation already deployed and about to engage them near Alfie. So
No. Let's have a look and see if we can have a look at a few of these dispatches that are lurking around on the board. We've got from Lipte to command. The battalions are continuing onwards to the hills. No French resistance has been found. That's obviously an old dispatch.
Yeah.
Interesting, considering we've been watching 25 minutes at least of cannon fire. I don't know what to make of that. Maybe that's just an old dispatch that someone's forgotten on the table. We have another one here from Coblos, 2 mile. I'm at Pozzolo, and the French brigade is deployed in line northwest of Rivoli with the intent to defend the town. Okay, and we've got Sando sending a dispatch here. Enemy column arriving at Montolto Road, about 800 paces from our line. 800 paces. That's almost like the Reds are appearing out of the blue in front. Wow, that's.
Well, so that cavalry's been reporting them coming down, but now I guess the infantry commander is saying he can see them coming down the road to confirm. I don't know if they've given him orders, but he's taken the initiative to deploy in line. It's a pretty good position to receive them, though he doesn't have the artillery out ready, which, at 800 paces, they could be firing already.
And so command has actually told Lebley here over at Alfie, advance northwards to Gazzoli and defend. So I wonder if Lebley or the umpire doing the moves for Lebley is actually going to accept that command and actually move forward. It looks like he's put out some skirmishes at least, but it'll be interesting to see if the umpire accepts that order. Would you?
Well, I think by the time he gets the order, he will already be fully engaged, and so there won't be movement. He will reply back, There's no moving. I found them already.
Yeah.
So
interesting.
It does look, though, I guess under his own initiative, since the staff isn't over there, that he's deployed some the some units on his flank as
Yeah.
he saw them coming in. So it won't be a surprise flank attack completely anyway.
No, but it's interesting that the Austrian artillery is pretty much taking positions where I was saying that the French probably should.
Oh, is that where you're pointing?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they've got the heights.
Coach. Yeah. Oh dear. Poor
They'll be
Lebly.
firing at an angle to the French line, so it'll be quite devastating.
Yeah,
once
it'd
they
be
get
horrible.
firing.
But it looks like here that Huff's brigade here has taken a bit of a hit. It's a bit
Artillery
disrupted.
fire.
Yeah.
A little bit of disruption. And it looks like they're engaging over here by Corte as well.
A lot of skirmishes set out along the line northwest of Rivoli. Wow.
Oh yeah, look at all those skirmishers deployed.
Oh my goodness. That's a hell of a lot of skirmishes. What's the bets that Marshall's team will be a bit more calm and collected when we go in and know what's going on? What's the bets?
I bet that they won't be.
Is that
Should we go see?
let's go. Why not?
Appropriately. So right now we're in that kind of that feelers stage. We're kind of trying to feel. But you do have to push. If you don't push, if you fall back on the defense and say, oh, they're attacking, they're already here, but we don't know that for sure, then we're giving them a lot of ground, and we're taking, we're giving up the initiative, and we're not doing our part during the Kriegsspiel.
Well, yeah, but the Kriegsspiel, it's a methodology. This is a scenario in my eyes, right? Where it's like, the objective, we have our intent. Whoever is above us in this situation gave us the intent. Hold the crossroads at Rivoli. They didn't say prevent the army from bypassing, or whatever. We prevented in the initial plan the bypass because we were worried that they would flank Rivoli. But my whole concern right now is that we essentially have 50% of our combat power who's maneuvering based on a plan that the other 50% of the combat power would be in place to stop them from even approaching Rivoli, therefore, shaping their forces to have to maneuver towards me. So for all we know, like you said, we don't know what we don't know. It's not a matter of like, oh, I'm afraid the enemy's here, the British are coming, ring the bell type situation. It's, preserving combat power. The enemy has not attacked us yet. They might already be, close to Rivoli. We don't know. And we've now separated our combat power based on a plan that is clearly not working because the situation.
Or not a possibility. It may have false pretense.
It's not even a reality right now because he can't maneuver there. And so there's no point in me being isolated here. In my eyes, what am I holding them back from? What is my force's objective? My force's objective was to, in case they maneuvered towards me, to hold them so that he could then close the door and we could end the fight there. My objective now is, well, we don't know if they're there or not, so let's just charge into the unknown. Meanwhile, the rest of the army is still maneuvering just to get anywhere near Rivoli. I'm out here doing some Colonel Custer charge, and that's just not how I would play.
To be fair, I mean, Rooks is a modern infantryman. A modern warrior, and I think that recon by force is less immediately lethal in Napoleonics than it is in modern warfare.
Sure, yeah.
And I think we need to remember that a little bit with what I think Marshall. That's kind of what Marshall's trying to get at. If I'm wrong, Marshall, you can let me know. But it seems like
we're not. Yeah.
And I think
and I'm not upset. I'm just a passionate speaker. Sorry. I know.
No problem. Okay. We have a dispatch, so let's react to that, or let's reply to that. From Lipte to Al to me, basically. The battalions have met French battalions and will resist further movement. The artillery will be deployed short of where they were originally planned to be. So at some point in this area, and I don't know the area, but we can draw a new box if we want, but somewhere in here, we have encountered the French forces, and there's now an engagement.
Where
I'm
is
going
that,
to
Marshall?
amend this to be more specific, if you don't mind.
What's that?
Where have you encountered the French, Marshall?
Somewhere around, because I don't have a location from
Here,
the
I can
dispatch.
share my
I'm-
screen.
I think
But,
it's probably more likely that they're right here.
Yeah. Well, I don't have a location in this dispatch. That's the problem. So it's a little more uncertain. But we are going to resist further movement, which means that we're on the defense there on that side. We're going to try to hold. So we
There
don't
it
have
goes.
yeah.
Sweet death be swift.
No, I think we're going to plug that gap, and again, we have to trust our commanders. We have to trust our commanders to behave intelligently.
Where do you think your commanders are at the moment?
Skipping their primary
think
school education classes.
Yeah, Lipte is somewhere in the area indicated in purple on the right. You see the little screenshot?
Means the left.
I'm not entirely showing my screen to the stream, so I'd appreciate it if you just told me. Where you
I
think
can
they
do
are.
that.
I personally, I actually think Lipte is right here.
So I'll
And
explain where
I
this
think
is.
he's
I'll explain
deployed.
where there is. All right. So if you remember Affy is the little town south of this giant choke point near this very prominent and defined mountain named Monte. The hell is it? Anyways, it's like there's this horseshoe-shaped mountain, and then on the northeast side of that, there's this choke point, and we think that there's an enemy infantry force there, or possibly on the opposite side, near this little town. So we have to wait to get a more detailed report of where we think our infantry are, and then once we figure that out, once we figure that out, we can we're trying to bring the artillery up. Who knows how this is going to go? I think the dice have already been cast. We just don't know the result yet, and yeah, so that's what it is.
Interesting. And your other force, where do you think that is?
Only God knows.
Lost in the mountains.
Lost in the mountains.
They're trying. Yeah, so you missed a discussion earlier. We actually started this game on quite severely false pretenses about where our forces started. So they're actually marching through mountains right now that we didn't think they would be. So right now they're in the far northeast of our other troops.
Yeah, they're near Ciradella.
Well, food for thought then, gents. I'll let you chat more amongst yourselves and yeah, good luck. James, let's head back to the commentary box.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Well, James looks like he's gone AFK for a second, but that's interesting that some problems there with Reds not exactly knowing where their commanders are. I think that's probably just the way the dispatch system is working. Normally, a commander would detail their position exactly as the dispatch, you know, when they're sending a dispatch. But I think the way it's being written out on the cards here and being copied and pasted, maybe it's neglecting some crucial information that would help our staff figure out exactly what's going on and where. But hey, you know, that's all part and parcel of the game. Sometimes you don't always have the most up-to-date information when it comes in. James, are you back? I think you might be.
Back.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. Yeah, I was just kind of discussing with the audience that it's kind of interesting that Red isn't still too sure of where their commands are.
Yeah, well, I mean, they got the dispatch at the one point of who's that? Koblos is up at Ceredetto and heading over the mountain, so they should have a good idea, but I don't think they do. I think the problem is they didn't have much of okay, they had a briefing. They didn't have much detail in that, and so they made a plan. If you look at their plan, they were kind of expecting to hold the 2 choke points, one where the French are currently at Affy, and then the other one at the other choke point south of Rivoli. And now they're still, what I see is they're still kind of reeling from the fact that the French beat them there and are having to change their plan, but they're not exactly sure what to do.
Yeah.
If I were them, of course, this is easy seeing everything, but right now, they're split 50-50, attacking a force in a strong defensive position. I don't see any much. They look pretty even. I don't see numerical advantage. What they would be smart to do is leave something to distract Lebley down in the south, and then cross over that hill and fall onto Sandos on his left flank. Some defeat in detail. That's how I think Red could win this, or the Austrians, that is.
Yeah. Looks like Blue's cavalry up in the north has been asked to do some scouting up in Canal. I think by the time they turn around, they might even be inconsequential to the future of the battle. Listening to Betsy, I think she did say that maybe that they put their cavalry maybe not the most ideal position, but I mean it's good to maybe scout out on the wings and make sure that there isn't another red column coming in at them.
Yeah.
From the flank.
I mean, these are chasseurs. Their primary role is scouting.
Yeah.
So they're doing their job and making sure there's no one's going to surprise them on their flank. So I don't think that's wrong. And actually, when they do come back, depending on how the battle goes, they may be falling in right on the Austrian flank.
Maybe
for a well-timed, charge. So you never know.
Yeah. I want to know what. Literally. So yeah, the Austrian guns here that are being put a little bit on the high ground. They're those heavy 12-pounders. So when they get firing, they're going to be doing some damage. It'll be interesting to see how the umpires interpret the disruption and what happens to poor old Lebley, and if he's going to hold this position at the Valley of Death, shall we say, or what.
He's really got to charge those guns and prevent them from firing. Because if he just sits there and takes it, it's not going to go well.
Yeah, but I mean, in effect as well. I mean that our players, our staff, and they're all with the Jalbert piece. So I think by the time they hear of what's going on with Lebley, it might be a little bit too late to affect what happens there. But I guess it's just down to the umpire. But yeah, look. Here we go. Right now, those 12-pounders are firing. Let's see if they've rolled a dice on it and what's going to happen to this 33rd line.
It is interesting because, with this staff command format, Lebley's really, the umpires are playing for Lebley, with base level orders. And so it's kind of up to them to decide what moves would Lebley make without very little decision, which is a bit different from how we normally play in Kriegsspiel because we have different players split out. So normally Lebley would be a player commanding this on his own, making those decisions. So it's a little bit different this style.
It is. But yeah, those 12-pounders rolled a 6. So, yeah.
I don't know if that's good or bad. It's high, though. It's either really good or really bad.
But yeah, I guess we'll see what happens and if there's going to be any disruption on who they're firing at, which I think is going to be this 33rd line sitting here. So
it looks like Alfinzi's moved his headquarters heading, probably the right move just to get a picture of what's going on. He went northeast to where Kobloch is, and now you can see at least some of the fight over there.
Right, let's maybe go back into blue.
In about 5 minutes.
Yeah,
sure,
okay.
I'll join you in a second.
No worries. I'm going to head to blue.
On our rear.
Oh my goodness.
That's what that suggests to me. If there's a battalion on the ridge,
Mhm.
he said part of battalion, that's something that sounds like he could hold with his own battalion. But if they're squeezing guys, they're trying to work their way northeast of Afi, the Koche or I can't read it, Koke.
Or Kokoshe.
Yeah. So Koke in Italian, if that's Coche.
Mhm.
So they're trying to squeeze some troops between there and our rear. So we've got some cavalry at Rivoli. We've got a cavalry reserve.
We do.
Why don't we send one of them to scout southwest of Rivoli?
Done.
Okay.
That sounds very
so,
good.
Brigade Sando. Incoming message, by the way.
The Austrians have surrendered.
Sando.
You wish. What's going on, guys?
That would be
Attach.
great.
One.
We're chasing ghosts in our head.
What's the unit size of the Chasseur?
I think it's just a squad. So
It's just a squadron.
Yeah, yeah. Each piece, each cavalry piece normally means a
Okay,
squadron.
detach one Chasseur squadron of 2 to scout for enemy to south west of
We
Rivoli.
just got to report that Caprino is free of the enemy.
Onto ridge.
All right, that's good. So that means one of our scout units is still probably up there. One of our dragoons.
I would actually bring the dragoons down through the Motolo Pass to see if we can hit some stuff in the rear.
Order to 215 dragoons.
In Caprino now, I would have them continue down the road to Fradello and then turn into Motillo. And let's see if we can potentially capture some unaware supply wagons or stuff in the rear and scare the Austrians a bit.
Oh my goodness.
Because nothing's coming down that north pipe. Yeah, I think we've figured out where the Austrians are. I think, and saying stuff with a conviction that it doesn't deserve.
What's the town you want them to hit?
Ceredella.
Spell?
CEREDELLO.
LLO.
Right here.
Okay. 15
Ceredella.
dragoons continue on road to Ceredella, seek enemy rear units and strike.
Yeah,
Yes.
and then turn down the Motadello Pass. If you look at the map, Ceredello is southwest of Caprino. And then you
Molto.
want to turn
Spell it. Molto. What pass?
where
That
the
is-
Austrians are coming in to attack us in Rivoli.
Matolto?
It's spelled-
What is it?
I can't. Montalto. Montalto. MON. Montalto.
Mont Alto. Got it. Mont Alto. Sent. Okay, so we advanced 6 brigades. I wonder what's happening in front of us.
I wonder.
I feel pretty good if it's just part of a brigade, and if
We're about to find something
our other
out.
brigade is at Afi deployed with those guns. That sounds pretty good.
Did we send the stronger artillery to Afi, or did we keep them
Afi,
with the?
8-pounders to Afi.
Okay.
Oh, we got spanked.
Oh, other times it's automatic. It's right there. 347. Who we are?
What do you mean?
We're
time?
okay. Are these dispatches or orders? I guess they're dispatches.
I think they're
I'm
one and the
confused.
same. Dispatches and orders are one and the same.
Okay, because okay.
I think they need it so as they're trying to figure out because they're dealing with all parties, just how they sequence.
Sure. Yeah, that so that they don't have to add it, I guess.
Yeah.
All right.
How do you guys think you're doing so far?
Well, we still hold Rivoli.
I was going to say it's either really good or it's really, really bad.
What is your objective, by the way?
Hold Rivoli and the road south, we think, between Rivoli and Afi.
Okay.
That's how we interpreted our objective to be. We asked Bonaparte for clarification. He never got back to us. So
Fine Napoleonic tradition. We will interpret it whichever way makes us look best at the end of the day.
very good.
Do you have a clear picture of where the enemy is now?
We think there's about a brigade advancing on Rivoli from the northwest. We have an undetermined size Austrian force marching towards Afi. We're not really sure exactly where our brigade is near Afi, but Rivoli seems to be adequately defended at the moment.
Okay.
Of course, I can be completely wrong.
And we think that the Austrians are trying to squeeze some troops over the southern part of the ridge between Afi and Rivoli to come into our rear. So we've dispatched some cavalry into that direction to find out.
Interesting. And how does this, what I'd call staff command, Kriegsspiel, is a little bit different from what we normally do. It harkens back to the more original style of Kriegsspiel. I know Betsy's seen the other style, maybe not, but Miles at least has. How does this compare to what I'd say, what we typically do, where you have different players, not necessarily a staff format, but players all over the place commanding different units?
I like this better because it's more confusing. Because we've got our map where we're moving units around, but it's not the judge's map. The judge's map have the actual location. And
It's very much, like we're in a tent pushing pieces around with a little stick.
Yeah. And they may or not correspond exactly where our units are. And the reports are maddeningly sparse. They don't say, we see two Austrian columns moving to X, but they don't say where they are. And so, we're going to make up in our heads and that's just a lot of fun. We might be hardly wrong, but it's interesting.
But and even moving the pieces around was almost an issue for us, because then we were assuming that the dispatches or orders that we sent, and then moving the pieces as we indicated them to be, we assumed that's exactly where they were. And then realized, we're like, wait a minute, we don't even think those guys are what we think they are. We need to move them back until we,
heavy musketry along the line of Sandoz.
So our engagement is happening. I much prefer the team rather than disparate individual commanders, especially for learning, because the exposition is so valuable for people to say, here's an idea, here's why, here's what I'm thinking, here's what I'm assuming. I just get a lot more from that conversation than just deciding things myself isolated somewhere.
Well, it's probably a lot more fun because, when we have big games with, let's say, 20-minute cycles, if you're out with a command on your own, you're just sitting by yourself twiddling your thumbs, waiting for an update. Whereas with this, you can be talking strategy the whole time. I imagine it's a lot more fun.
It's a lot more engaging.
And it's more engaging. And honestly, it's just making the pace of the game more exciting.
Good.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine what it's like though to be the GM, because there's a lot of moving parts you're juggling.
Oh, for sure. Well, we're engaged in front of Rivoli.
We're doing it.
Yep. Well, good luck, guys. I'm gonna maybe take James back to the commentary box. But nice hearing some of your answers there. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Ciao.
Yeah, I think Blues got it together there. They're not seem to be too fussed.
They're freaking out less than red anyway.
Yeah. But it's interesting as well. It looks like our 33rd line being hit by those 12-pounders is actually maybe been diminished ever so slightly with regards to casualties and taken canister fire by the looks of things.
Yeah, falling back.
Yeah, but with Marshall and the gang all the way up north, will they be giving orders to capitalize on that? Who knows? Shall we see how panicked Red are? Have they calmed down?
It's actually, I mean, it's up to you, but I just kind of wanted to listen in on the umpires for at least a couple minutes to see what it's like.
Yeah. Let's do that then. Yeah, why not?
Okay. Less frenetic than I thought it would sound like.
Yeah. It's so quiet in here.
Most of our crying has ended.
Okay. I see lots of dice, so it looks like we're about to do some attacking rolls.
Yeah, there's a lot of musketry going on.
Is high dice, is a 6 bad or 1 bad?
A 4 is really bad. I should probably sort them by deadliness, but I've just sort of taken the 80-28 firing tables, slightly modified them. They don't have increasing number of hits per die number.
Now,
Kind of a bell curve of death.
Are the French advantaged because they deployed their skirmishers and the Austrians didn't? Was that wise on the French side?
Maybe so. We will see. The skirmishers, though, are under heavy fire, it seems.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Did you say there was a dispatch for lifting?
No.
That's for me.
For the
Lovely.
Oh, all right.
Whenever you have a dispatch ready to send out, please let me know. This one? Or are you still working on that?
That should be good. Yeah.
Okay. Next turn.
Ready? Well,
Well, I guess we'll let you carry on. Shall we go to Red?
I can jump into the Empire booth if you want to talk for a few minutes.
Well, whenever you're ready. No need to rush you now. I mean, we could do it now. It's entirely up to you, Jan.
Yep, give me 1 second and I'll be with you.
Sure. So yeah, very calm in the umpire table. It looks like, as Tunis, I think, said, we missed all the crying and the hollering and stuff. But interesting developments with these French skirmishers up in the northwest of Rivoli. It looks like they're slowly getting depleted and coming back to their lines. But it seems to me that the umpires are making that an effect on the manpower of some of these regiments out in front. It'll be interesting to see how that plays. Interestingly enough, it looks like the Austrian fire has probably come off, I would think, the better. They seem to have fewer depleted units on the field, whereas you'd think maybe sending skirmishers out to maybe pick up a few off on the line, do the opposite of that. But maybe they just rolled really poorly.
Yeah, so they lost about half their skirmishers, but if I'm trying to, yeah, it looks like the French got the worst of that engagement.
Yeah.
Perhaps. But the main, the main Austrian line's also taking casualties, so they may not have the strength now to keep pushing through, but we'll see. Leon?
How's it going?
Well, it's very stressful, I can tell you that.
Yeah?
That's crazy. But I think we grooved in a little bit, so...
Excellent. And how much time has run so far? I know we've been an hour streaming, and you said it was like 2-minute turns. Are you still keeping to that kind of time scale, or?
Yes, mostly. Sometimes the combat is somewhat delayed, but mostly we manage to stick to the 2 minutes.
Excellent. And I know we did have a question from someone on the YouTube about dispatches not seeming to be putting their time and location that they were sent. I mean, is that deliberate, or?
Well, absolutely not. But I think it sort of expresses the excitement and stress the players are under. So
You definitely heard that.
Are the dispatches that the umpires are writing on behalf of the NPC commanders, are they getting places and times when they're written?
Yeah, I just put the time in when I deliver them.
Yeah. Okay.
I keep track of that. I'll be back in a second.
Interesting.
Well, that was literally a second.
It's just me shouting out next turn and move and roll dice and stuff.
Sure. So what made you choose Rivoli then?
I was originally thinking about Caldiero, the second one, the 1805 one, because I think that's an overlooked battle. But then we had a battle on that before. I know we had James has run Rivoli, of course, but I haven't. So that I didn't want to do Castiglione again. So there's that.
From your view, any guesses as to who's winning so far?
It sort of looks like the Habsburgs are a little bit more successful with their musketry so far. However, the French have cavalry in advantageous positions, so maybe they can pull some forces out of the line and open a window of opportunity to push forwards.
Did they start even in terms of strength? How are they respectively?
About even. The Habsburgs had more artillery and more cavalry.
Okay.
But I haven't bothered sticking to the actual historical order of battle, right? I've just sort of evened it out so that it's workable.
Well,
right.
Well, yeah, we'll let you get back to the umpire table, because I'm keen to hear red now. I think James.
We'll jump to red. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, let's go. Let's do it.
How do you model fog of war in the events that you do?
So most of the stuff that we do at Marine Corps University is digital. We don't really do tabletop stuff. If we do, it's the OWS system that Mr. Barrick made. That just uses it by simple detection dice roll modifiers and counters that you flip over. But in the computer games, it really kind of depends on which one. So some of the, like if we're doing operational level stuff, then it'll probably model it with an actual fog of war where you can't see behind. Certain units have hex vision limits, and then you can apply modifiers like that. That's usually how it's done.
We'll come back to that. I see Dave and James are in the
We
Discord.
have.
Hello, guys.
How things going now? How's the battle looking?
I think we're about to capture Napoleon himself. I have set a destination of Paris, and we'll probably be there pretty quick. We are pushing in Rivoli, or hopefully we're pushing. So my general orders are we're to kind of basically push, because I think the enemy is weak there. In fact, I'm of the impression that Rivoli is not their Schwerpunkt. I suspect the enemy Schwerpunkt is through Affy in that little valley around Mount Mossy. I can't read the name. Monte Mountain, whatever. Up towards Grizzoli or Gazzoli or whatever. In which case, my big concern is that I think we're weak on that side, but I'm not sure. Once we start to push here on the Rivoli side and we start to see some success, I want to ride back over to the other side to get my eyes on the situation there and determine if we need to reinforce that position or what. It says here, the enemy seems to be pulling back the remnants of their skirmish screen. So that's on the right side in Rivoli. So that tells me that we may be correct. So let me just repeat my last order. Let me put that in. All right, continue. Yeah. All right. So yeah, we're going to be pushing. So the enemy is falling back in front of us here. So I think that is either, I don't think that's their main effort. And so the big question I face now is, how long do I hang out here before I ride to the other side? And I don't know where all my artillery is. I've lost track of 2 of my batteries. I've got the 8-pounders online here. I'm going to issue question to staff. Where are my four batteries?
You're going to have to forgive me for saying this, Marshall, but every time we come in here, you're always asking where your forces are, and doesn't seem like you know where they are.
Yeah, well, I know, right? No, like the cavalry just kind of evaporated. I have no clue where they are. And I do see that I have a supply train here with me in the Rivoli Valley and 2 of my batteries. The problem is we got started off on our back foot. We had a plan and we thought we were going to be able to deploy further forward. And so we gave orders in accord with that plan. And then when the game starts, we're being told, no, actually you're further back and the enemy is much further forward and your plan is basically useless. So now we're having to kind of improvise. And so my improvisation is basically push until we can't push anymore. And then that kind of tells us where that's going to tell us where the enemy is strong and where he's weak. So I don't think he's going to be strong in both places. And where he's weak, then, we can go from there. We can redeploy forces. We can push on the weak flank. We need to reinforce the strong flank. Ultimately, we're supposed to play defense. So, and we have our primary objective, which is Rivoli. So my concern is, and my thinking is, I don't know why he has to take Rivoli when he could flank around the left. Affi to Gazzoli to Caprino. Why is Rivoli so important that he has to take and secure that? And, if we ignore the left flank, if we put everything into Rivoli, well, he just comes around on the left to Gazzoli and then flanks us that way and comes in behind us. So I think our plan is pretty logical. I think it's a very good plan, and I think it's working. It's really just going to come down to are we too weak on one side or the other? Has he invested, is he doing kind of an 80-20 kind of thing or a 70-30? And if his Schwerpunk is on the left, there's that little valley there, and we can hold as long as we have a plug in that valley. But if we're pushed further back and he can start to outflank us, then we're in trouble. So I really want to get over there to see. I'm being told by Lipte, who is on the left, the plateau is mostly under control, engaging enemy flank Koshi, Coche. I don't know if that's a location or what.
I believe
Right
Kosher
here.
is location, yeah.
Yeah, and here it is. Okay, so we're here and we're engaging his flank. This is good. This is all good. If he's pulling back here and we have this line, okay. maintain a reserve.
Right. Well, we'll leave you with those thoughts, Marshall, and the rest your team. Thanks, guys. We'll be back momentarily, and me and James will take it back to the commentary box if you want, James.
Yep, let's go.
I have thoughts, James. What about you?
I do as well. Let's hear yours first.
Well, I was just gonna think, put my smart hat on as best as I can, because we've had players and videos about the importance of interior lines, right? And it's kind of interesting to see how, because of the way both teams have elected to deploy their forces, the battle is very split, and therefore they're kind of dealing with those same kind of interior lines of long distances of dispatches and messages and this, that, and the other. But it also is kind of interesting because Marshall just there says he's kind of acting defensively almost. And I was like, well, dude, you're on the attack.
Well, part of it's, so they've been told to hold Rivoli and the crossroads, and everyone has different ideas of what crossroads those are referring to. And so they're kind of each picking different points where they think they have to hold. And so that's why they're, something they're defending and something they're attacking. My view is Marshall's been, on the offensive the whole time. Although I guess maybe he thinks he can stop and defend at some point. But I think that I talked a little bit earlier about the winning move might be leaving a small force in the west and concentrating to the east. I think the time for that has passed. That decision could have been made, maybe a half hour ago, but now both sides are pretty well committed. And it's basically two separate battles with slightly even forces, maybe a slight Austrian advantage on both. And then it's just basically seeing how those pan out. There's no major moves that I see either side making at the moment in terms of shifting forces or doing anything in that regard. It is interesting. The French in both battles have cavalry in the rear of the enemy. Doesn't look like they're doing anything yet, but just that presence there may be enough to really disrupt their attacks, because they really got to be concerned about their rear now.
True, but cases. I mean, will Marshall even hear about it? I mean,
I don't know. Well, it is realistic in that regard, because if we were playing a game, my screenshot, if I were given a screenshot to Alvinci, at this point, I would probably include those cavalry way over there. And so he would know, within the turn that they're there, where in reality, it probably is, a 10 to 20 to 30 minute delay to find out, oh, there's cavalry on my flank. And probably by the time he found out about it, the men have already done something about it.
Yeah.
So, in that way, it is interesting, this game, that it's a lot more realistic in terms of the delays of information.
Certainly,
What you really can control and command.
Yeah.
As an army general.
Let's move the camera down here to Nedley. It looks like he's got some pretty nasty disruption now on the 33rd line, although some of them are trying to hold this little plateau that we heard about. Interestingly enough, it looks like those 12-pounders have been pulled off the line. Maybe they've run out of ammo and they're kind of resupplying, or
what are they doing?
I don't know. I
don't.
Or maybe they are just coming up to this really high ground. This little bit here, maybe, I don't know. Interesting.
I think Lebley looks like he's losing, but he's still got tons of reserves.
Yeah.
It's a ways from being beaten there. So.
But and up in the north, up near Rivoli, I mean, as you say, I mean, now that cavalry is appeared on the flank, are they going to commit their lancers to chase them off? And interestingly enough, it looks like maybe the the lines are starting to even out with regards to casualties and results. Yeah, it looks like the Austrian line in front of Marshall there is thinning a little bit. So there's a chance that the French might actually hold on. And
The French have 0 reserves, so everything's on that front line. So if
Yeah.
anything goes badly, they've got anything to fall back on, which is risky.
that is risky. But I mean, I guess if you order all your skirmishers to the front, I mean, that's exactly what your pieces will do. They'll just kind of form a big old long line. But yeah, and the piece has been removed there by the looks of things. With regards to, they've lost a few actually. The 14th line looks like it's being decimated. There's going to be not many of them left at the end of this day.
Yeah.
By the looks of things.
I think the one big decision Marshall still has remaining to him is his 2 Lancer squadrons.
Yeah.
If the timing and place of him committing them could be decisive in this engagement here around Rivoli. So we'll see how he uses them.
Yeah. Shall we go back to blue and see how they're enjoying themselves?
Let's do it.
And ask him
Okay,
when
we
he
got a.
expects it.
Hey guys, how's it
Or
going?
we could do it. We could do an if practicable kind of thing. All right, 215 Dragoons, Gazzoli, rear of an enemy grade appears to be in combat. We have thrown several squadrons of carriers against us. We are pulling back north. Okay, they're too strong for us in cavalry, but we did
That's good,
something.
But they've got their cavalry focused on them and not
Yeah.
us.
All right, so that's good news, I guess.
Less bad news.
Less bad.
Less bad news, yeah. Okay, so you guys want Lebley to try to detach something to send to Rivoli to reinforce us?
Or at
Yeah.
least provide justification on why he can't.
Okay. All right.
So we could share intent and then say, if unable to comply, please provide reason.
And triple it. Dave, we cut you off. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I mean, I probably cut you guys off, and it's more important that you talk and converse than me just ask silly questions. But
Yes,
how's it
Dave.
going? I mean, what's the situation like for you?
I think we think our situation has improved.
How so?
I think we have a little bit better understanding of where our brigades are at. I think for a short time we were unsure where people were. So we feel good that the objective to protect Rivoli and Affy are pretty well established. I know that we're currently engaged in Rivoli, and we're not 100% winning there yet, but we're not dead yet either. But we were really nervous about losing our position in Affy, and I think that we feel a lot better knowing that the forces are there that haven't engaged yet and that they're not under the threat that we feared they might be. I didn't mean to talk for the team. Can everyone confirm?
Yeah, I think that. I think the thing that we're not sure of is where the main Austrian thrust is. I think
Correct.
it's at Rivoli, and we may need to move some units to support it, but I'm not sure yet.
Right.
And we have sent a message to try to do that, giving some latitude to the brigade commander at Affy. If too hard pressed, just let us know. But if able, detach 2 battalions and send them to us.
And where is our other Dragoon unit? We got the one that's now withdrawn back up. Where is the other Dragoon?
This guy right
It
here.
was supposed to be pressing through Montalto on the enemy rear to our front. Yes.
Well, we had one
And-
we had one that's going down the road to Montalto, and then we have another one. Where did that go?
We had one Montalto, the other. Oh, I see. The Dragoon. Yeah, I don't know. We were sending it south. Wasn't that the one that 215 Dragoons in Gazzoli?
215, yes.
I think we have him go through the pass to harass the rear of that Austrian unit.
Through Coletto?
Yeah, through that path north of Coletto. Yeah, and do the same thing, because the one thing our 1 Dragoon regiment did is it drew off 2 squadrons of cavalry. That's not pressing us at Rivoli. I think if we can keep having those guys bounce back and forth in their rear, we may siphon off some strength.
Okay, how do we get the message to them? What's the route?
I think you just go through the mountains.
Yeah, I don't know if they have a map or not, but essentially, and again, it's more of intent. Find a way to get through the pass. We're looking at the pass north of Coleto, but as long as they can get through that pass and at least arrive somewhere north of Pozzolo, or what is this place? Pigres? Somewhere here. I don't care how they get through the pass. Just get through the mountain pass.
Yeah, but I mean, how do we get the courier to him? To Gazali via pass across ridge. Proceed east across ridge, and what we want them to head for Rivoli.
I want him to head towards where your finger is right there. That little city right there.
What's the name?
Pozzolo. Pozzolo. Pozzolo.
And attempt to engage enemy.
Yeah. Maybe they can.
Okay, so I have 215 dragoons to Gazzoli courier to Gazzoli via pass across ridge. Proceed east across ridge. Gonna put in.
Just one more
Order.
question. Do you know what you're up against? I mean, do you know the kind of makeup of the enemy force at all, or?
At least 2 brigades with pretty sizable cavalry and some artillery, possibly more. But that's the floor.
I think, and the focus did shift a little bit. At first, it was, I think our fear was that there was a large force headed towards Affy. And I think now we've reshifted that to think that a larger force might be engaging at Rivoli.
Yeah, well, seems to have gone better for us at Affy than at Rivoli.
Correct.
James, do you have any questions?
I don't right now. No.
Do you guys want to provide any hints?
Oh, we wish.
Yeah,
We
right.
wish we were that little crow on top of your tent right now, just giving you all the information, but we can't. James, shall we go back to the commentary box?
I will ask a question though. Have you taken any thought to moving your headquarters, maybe going to the front of the line, or are you happy where you're at?
We didn't know we could do that.
I have been happy at Rivoli since we are tasked with holding Rivoli. So that's one of our 2 missions as I see it, hold Rivoli and hold the roads south. And so we could give up Affy as long as we don't allow a break through the south, but we have been asked by Bonaparte to hold Rivoli. So I think I like staying here as long as we're able to hold it.
You can
Okay.
move your headquarters though if you want to see the fighting yourselves.
Okay, line wavering. We will not hold much longer. The enemy is also taking heavy casualties. And we have an image of the 122 Chasseurs and our headquarters at Villa, or just north of Rivoli. 122 Chasseurs passing by. Do you want to ask Chasseurs for report?
Yeah. Why don't we move Gerbert up to the line so we can see the line? I think that was the nice hint James was giving us.
Okay.
Not a hint, just making sure you know it's an option.
There.
Yeah. All right, James,
Orders.
let's go back to the commentary booth before we tell them much more, eh?
I mean, the thing is,
Well, that's interesting. Over the last 5 minutes, we've had some few developments, but yeah, very calm in the commander's tent with Blue there, I thought.
Both sides are feeling more confident, I think.
Yeah.
As they getting a better feel for where everything is. It's interesting. They're both trying to figure out where the main enemy strength is, and they're basically split evenly. So there is no
But
there's no main strength.
I've got to say, James, though, I mean, with the action that we have seen, I feel both commands are a little bit behind the curve, because I feel like this is only going to be going on for another 20 minutes to half an hour at most. I mean, the Austrians up at Rivoli, they're exhausted, man. I mean, their blocks have diminished in size. Looks like there's a lot of casualties going on. I don't think this game is going to be going on for much longer. it's interesting to see how this command staff system has kind of worked out in practice, because I think not everyone is really on the ball. That we are fully engaged. But what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I don't know the rules that Jan's using, so all I can go off is how small the different units are getting over time. Both sides, certainly around Rivoli, both sides are getting smaller. But if I judge by what the Austrians have remaining versus the French, it doesn't look like the Austrians have the strength to break through. Although I don't know. Are there such things as mass routes where if one unit breaks, they all turn and go, and so it's just kind of which side breaks first. I'm not sure how that will play out, but I think you might be right. I don't. Both sides are getting worn down, and this battle may be ending soon.
Yeah, but down in the south, interestingly enough, we've now got a full advance here of the Austrians. Looks like they're now committing to try and assault poor old Lebley. Has held on quite surprisingly well, but now those 12-pounders are on that bit more tuft of high ground. I think they'll certainly do the damage, and poor old Lebley's probably going to have to send a dispatch soon, which I presume will probably mean the end of the game when it gets to the French tent, that he's going to have to give up this Death Valley if the infantry don't come off good for the Austrians. We'll see. What are your thoughts on the game so far? It's certainly been different to a normal broadcast, I must say.
Yeah, I do like the realism of the command system. It's something I've not seen before. I actually have a game planned to do it myself in a couple of weeks, to attempt it myself. But I like what I'm seeing of it. In terms of like game setup and design, I think it could have been improved, because in terms of player decisions, there weren't a ton made, or that could be made even. By the time both sides kind of figured out what was going on and where the enemy was, both sides were already engaged and there wasn't too much left to be done. And so I think in terms of just game setup and design, I would have liked to have seen more information from the beginning, more options to both sides to know where at least their commands were, more opportunities for scouting, and then at least having the option to make major decisions in terms of force deployment and where they're going to concentrate. They kind of just fell into it. They're playing out. They're having a lot of fun doing it, so don't get me wrong, but I think that could have been improved just in terms of the game design. I guess that's some criticism for Jan to take. Just looking from commentators' perspective.
Yeah, I tend to agree. Notably, looks like Marshall hasn't moved to where he was saying he was going to move to, and he's actually gone to the far extreme left of the Austrian line up here in Rivoli. Let's maybe go back and see what he's saying to Kevin here.
Interesting. That's good.
Sure, and according to plan, reading it, trying to do my part, and then when it does the 180, it's less of like, it's not a gameism for me. It's just like, well, I'm just trying to be prepared here. And it just feels like it's a disservice to the onboarding process. But now that I have the context, it makes a little bit more sense. It's just like, if I had the perception, that was going to be a thing, I think I could have been a little bit more mentally prepared for it, instead of okay, now I don't understand anything.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
What's going on, guys?
Okay.
The battle seems to be turning against us, maybe. We're not sure. Over here on the right, I've adjusted our position according to my latest screenshot, and it appears that we no longer have the juice to push the enemy. So the enemy is likely going to hold that crossroads for the time being. I've also heard that there are French dragoons in the pass west of Pigra I don't know where Pigra is, but I think it's here, right here. If I draw on my map, I think this is Pigra, and I think they're here. I don't know how French Dragoons got all the way around back there. West of Pigra, I don't see another candidate for Pigra. But in any case, I've given orders to the Lancers to try to, oppose them, and if need be, they may come through, and we'll just have to form squares and fight them off. I don't want the Lancers to be squandered fighting against cuirassiers or dragoons, but.
Have you given some orders to your Lancers already?
Yeah, I've told them hold the dragoons if possible, but not at hazard of your command. And for some reason, he said dragoons, but then I was assuming they were cuirassiers, but no, they're dragoons. So we could probably push them, with the Lancers, but why?
How do you think it's going on down near Affy?
As far as I know, we're holding. In fact, at one point, we were kind of working in the enemy flank. Now, we just need to hold that. We don't need to actually push. So I figure if we push, we're just going to burn, powder, when really we just need to hold it. So I don't want to, go hard at that and then have that flank collapse because we pushed too hard. But at the same time, we're in a situation here on the right. Now, let's say on the left we were doing well, we could try to push. I don't know. This is a question for Kevin and I to sort through, because we don't know how we're doing on the left. If we have the preponderance of force on the left, we could push and threaten the enemy flank and rear. And that might be our only path to victory at this point.
And what's in front of you right now? What do you think's in front of you?
Enough French forces to stop us.
I see.
We're not able to push anymore.
And what do you think you're going to be doing in the next, say, 20 minutes?
Well, I think we need to get a report out of Lipte to see if he feels he can push or not. If Lipte cannot push, and if we cannot push here at Rivoli on the right, then the logical order is to fall back to a rally position at Caprino and Al Palatano and preserve what force we can. Because, there's no sense in squandering our force trying to take a crossroads that we're not going to take or that we won't be able to hold in the future. So yeah, if the situation does not appear that we can push to that crossroads, then I don't know why we're, I don't want to squander the force. That's all.
Interesting.
So, yeah. So I don't think we're defeated. But if we can't push to that crossroads and hold that crossroads, we can't achieve the mission objective. And if we can't achieve the mission objective, either by flanking him on the left or pushing to Rivoli, then we need to fall back. So, when you go to the bathroom, you either need to go or get off the pot.
That's right. James, do you have any questions for Team Red here?
I guess one question: Have you considered shifting forces? You kind of split in two. Have you considered moving forces from one side to the other?
I've thought of that, but I don't know that those forces would arrive in a timely fashion. Mm-hmm. And until I have a better update from Lipte that tells me that he's either strong or he's weak, moving forces from one side or another, it's 6 in one hand, half a dozen in the other. In short, the problem is I don't have enough situational awareness to make what I think is the correct decision one way or the other. My cavalry is, I don't know where. I still got 2 batteries that I'm missing. So the problem is being unable to kind of sort everything out. I don't have the situational awareness I require to make decisions like that.
What's the communication delay timing between you and Lipte for where you're at right now?
I'm not sure. I don't have a pocket watch, so I actually don't even know what time it is right now.
Oh.
But I imagine it's short enough that we can give reasonable orders back and forth. But as far as saying, let's send 2 brigades left or right, yeah. That's taking 2 brigades of power offline where we are opposing, we're engaged with the enemy in both sectors. If we have extra force on one side or the other, we need to be pushing.
Food for thought. James, let's head back to the commentary box if you're ready. So what do we think of that? I mean, Marshall's already thinking about the possibility of heading back up to Caprino and calling it a day.
Yeah, so he doesn't know. He's far away from Lipte. He doesn't know how that's going, but he knows where he's at with Kobloch, that they don't have the strength to push, and he's right. I think Lipte's in a good position that he's going to force Lebley to fall back, and so eventually, and so when that happens, what will he do with that information? Will he? Because if he pushes Lebley back or defeats him all the way, then he can basically be operating freely in the rear of the Rivoli group, and they'll have to fall back as well, and basically he'll have won at that point. So his only hope at this point is that Lipte does well and forces Lebley basically to fully retreat.
It looks almost like Lebley. It looks like Tunis is in charge of Lebley here, moving his troops. It looks like he's ordered a counterattack
They're moving up
to try and engage these 12-pounders. Interesting decision. I wonder why the umpire chose that, but I think Lebley's probably going to hold. I mean, he's got the dragoons up here that are kind of pestering the Austrians on their flank, and they've forced what looks like a couple of squares here. Lebley's, I think, probably going to hold. And I mean, if Marshall in the next few moments gets a courier from Lipte over here anytime soon, I think he might call this off, and then we can maybe just call this a French defense of Rivoli successful. I would have thought.
They've hold it at Rivoli. They just got to hold there at Afi, and then the day will be won.
Shall we see what's going on in the umpires for a bit? Yeah.
Let's jump up there.
It's all still so quiet here.
They're working hard. They know what they got to do, and they're doing it.
Yeah.
Highly concentrated.
Just a quick question, I guess, for Tunis. Is this like a counterattack from Ledley in front of these 12-pounders, then moving up, or what?
No, I feel like they're trying to take cover behind the crest of these hills.
Gotcha.
It seems like there might be some sort of flat terrain here and some cover they can get behind. But
Sure.
Yeah.
We saw them moving up, and we were like, "Why? What's going on?" Yeah. Fair
Not a
enough.
lot of great places for them to go.
What's the experience of like for Lebley, for example? He's far removed from the staff and the actual players. What's it like, umpiring for him as an NPC?
Next turn.
It certainly seems like the staff. It's interesting seeing the delay between the messages, because I'm getting messages from them, they're getting messages from me, and it's clear the delay is having an effect on their decisions.
Would they have been smarter to come down here to see the situation themselves?
Maybe somewhere in the middle.
or right in the middle. Yeah.
Yeah.
Felix, you have orders to fall back on Rivoli.
Yep, already limbering the guns.
All right.
I have a message for the French.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's a good point then to call the game here. We've seen considerable losses in the north, so don't know if they can put up much of a resistance, even if they fall back on Rivoli there. What do you guys think?
Yeah, it would have been very close in the south.
Does Lipte have a chance of beating Leble in the south? Is Leble still too strong?
Much of his infantry
Sure.
up here is being kept in square by this cavalry. So,
Yeah, that's my biggest concern.
Yeah, and the Habsburgs, I mean, they still have 2 squadrons, which could exploit a route
yeah.
in the center. So, all right, let's call it then. Let's all hop into the lobby.
Excellent.
Let's all go to the lobby.
So,
Uh-oh. I think we're done.
1642. All right, Brigade Lebley is able to attach infantry artillery to aid friendly cavalry vicinity Koche. Should I send?
Go ahead
I
and
don't
send
think it
it.
matters anymore.
Oh, send it. Last order.
We are calling the game at this point.
All right.
You have a table we can join?
I guess the table is almost full, but I will go ahead and stream at least. Let me increase the quality of that so you can take a look at the overall situation. Man, that was a little bit stressful. Right. So before we go into the details of what happened, maybe some of you might briefly describe how they experienced the game. I mean, not concerning the tactical development, but just how you receive what happened, the pace of things, and so forth.
I'll jump in real quickly, just because the last time that I had the opportunity to play this, I was commentating, and the individuals that we had that came to play were all separated out into their own channels, and communicating with each other was much more difficult. I think the fog and friction element was, I don't want to say higher, because the confusion in this game was still there as well. But I heard from a lot of members afterwards that being so disconnected and jointed away from each other was a little difficult for the playing and the pace of the game. And I was kind of anticipating that same setup for this game. And then when I found out that I was actually getting a headquarters position with 2 other individuals, I was like, oh, this will be interesting to see how it worked. And it was a lot of fun. It was, the pace of the game was quicker, the engagement game increased, and I really liked this setup. So it was different than what I had witnessed before, but I really, really liked this because the pace of the game just felt much faster. And it was great to chit chat with some incredible people while I played. So I really enjoyed it.
Awesome.
I'd echo that. I had 2 very gracious teammates who put up with my stupidity, and it was a lot of fun. And the limited intelligence, we would often, make up where the Austrian units were, and surprisingly, they weren't often where we thought they were, and that was just a lot of fun.
All right. Okay, that's great. Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I did the sort of a rewrite, even though that's still a work in progress of the historical rules, because I think the engagement, especially if it's one of your first games, is a little bit higher compared to being isolated from everybody else. I can tell you, though, that on the umpire side, it was quite stressful to keep pace with everything what was going on. Even though we had the brigades assigned to individual assistant umpires, they had a lot of combat rolling to do, and I was constantly going back and forth with the messages and trying to keep track of that.
Great job, because my sense was the information came in, easily, fast enough to keep it interesting, and it seemed like most but not all our orders seem to have gotten executed, which seems to me realistic that not all of them would be.
Yeah, we had one or two that didn't quite make it to the unit they were supposed to reach. One of the Habsburg messages got intercepted by the dragoons up here, but they weren't really able to report back to the French headquarters and so forth. Okay, great. So then let's go through the situation as it was. What we basically had was that the French were sort of in this area, right? They were the advance guard of Bonaparte's army marching north to counter the movement of Alvensi's Habsburg army coming down, this time concentrated coming down the Adige Valley to strike south and hopefully relieve Mantua, which is still under siege. And then we had the Habsburg team, like roughly in this sort of area here. And plans were made by the Habsburgs to advance into this valley and to use this road and advance against these crossroads. These crossroads and the roads to the south basically were the objective of the Habsburgs, blocking the reinforcements that the French army would bring. And the French decided, I found that quite interesting, to just place single squadrons of dragoons in these mountain passes to be aware of what's going on, what's coming down those roads. Keep one brigade in reserve here with the headquarters at Rivoli, and post one brigade to block this valley here. And as it appeared that the Habsburgs were pushing a brigade down there to sort of control that gap, block it to the French reinforcements, and then control this plateau here. And this brigade up in the north was supposed to reinforce this position, of course, but didn't quite make it, as it was delayed by dragoons and then engaged by this second French brigade. And we did have quite some firefights going on. It was interesting to see that the Habsburgs, they did completely annihilate the French skirmisher screen here, which I didn't expect. And the French are somewhat in a battered position now. They have taken heavy losses. I mean, those have the Habsburgs, but they are somewhat in a better shape. And the French are forced to fall back on Rivoli, even though I'm not quite sure if that will save that command. I guess they will soon take that, say, the highway to the south and try to find some reinforcements over there. And over here we had heavy artillery engagement with the 12-pounders the Habsburgers brought. They forced several battalions of the French, which were then completely beaten in terms of the rules, to fall back. And yeah, basically a stalemate by now. This one dragoon squadron, which was sent over to basically scout for the headquarters and report back, soon got engaged here and tried to keep the flank of the Austrians in square, so unable to push against the battered battalions over here. But the Habsburgs have a very good artillery position running this field. Let's talk to the French team first, maybe, as to you did never move your headquarters from Rivoli. You could have moved it.
We did issue an order. It just didn't get executed, but it was fairly late.
That's my bad then. Okay.
Yeah,
But it was fairly late.
We could, and we didn't know we'd be able to see anything if we did. So that was more ignorance than anything else.
Okay, that's my bad then. I was already wondering why you remained up there. As you said, it created sort of a delay, especially in communications with the Southern Brigade. But then on the other hand, you did get immediate reports from
Yeah.
What's his name again?
And-
Sando, and we're able
Yeah,
to assess the
and
situation.
I think our feeling was that Lebley, the other brigade at Afi, seemed to be doing all right on his own, holding his position. And Rivoli was a direct order to hold Rivoli. So I think we did favor staying close to the Sando brigade with our headquarters.
Absolutely makes sense. Would you, in retrospective, have made different decisions?
No.
We did everything right.
We did everything right. We were actually talking about as a group earlier on in the game. We had actually issued some orders to the brigade that was issued to Afi to go up farther north and to cut across the pass to Coletto. Because I think as a group we thought that the origin of the Austrian enemy, or at least the majority of their party, might have been much more northeast than it was. I had no idea that they were coming from the other side of the Gazali. So when we finally figured out, wait a minute, that brigade's not in the pass, that's not where they think they are, thank goodness they're still in Afi. We were like, wow, we're really, really happy that they either never got that order dispatched or completely chose to ignore it because they were engaged with the enemy, which was pretty nice. So obviously the only thing I would have done different is had better intelligence, so that I think we could have focused our forces more in the other direction. But with there's no way I think we could have really known that. So I think knowing what we did, and with the current confusion that was set, I think we're really happy by having our force established at Afi to defend, having a force at Rivoli to defend, and holding that position. Though it might be battered, we're still holding it. And I think we feel pretty good with that.
Yeah, I concur with that. We have not been flanked. We have, everywhere that we thought there was the enemy, that's all that they are. We're taking frontal attacks. Our orders are to hold these roads and to hold Rivoli. And if in the end we're too weak to do that against frontal assault, then we did our utmost. Looking at the map, I feel like we are achieving our mission.
Yeah, I think our dragoons were probably our most valuable players, because they're tying up a whole bunch of Austrian cavalry in the rear, which would not have been particularly helpful going on our flanks in Rivoli. So I think we were lucky there, but I think there's an awful lot of luck in our deployment.
Yeah, that's a fair point. And let's go over to the Habsburgs. I think only Marshall is left of that team. Your initial orders, I guess, were somewhat blunted by how, especially the Northern Brigade, wasn't where you thought it would be, as opposed to sort of extend the flank of the other brigade there and take the high ground and so forth. So what sort of a challenge did that provide?
Yeah, we thought that we were going to be able to deploy a little more forward than we actually ended up being. So we kind of started off on our back foot. Nonetheless, I feel that the plan was a good plan, so we stuck to the plan. We were defensive in our mindset, so we were holding on the left and happy to do it around Monte Mountain there on the left. I can hardly read that text. And then in Rivoli, I was getting prepared to renew the assault towards Rivoli, since that's really our main objective. The way I achieved a crushing defeat against the enemy, well, I just want to throw that out there, just so there's no doubt, was we split our forces, and then once we knew kind of where the enemy was weak or where they were strong, we held against where we thought they were strong and pushed where we thought they were weak. I know that we kind of ended up in a stalemate in front of Rivoli, but my orders were to rally, and once we were rallied, I figured we could kind of push again. Mm-hmm. Yes, we are doing frontal attacks, but there's not a lot of room to maneuver there. One of the problems I ran into was not knowing where my stuff was, my cavalry in particular. Mm-hmm. I had plans for the cavalry to go out and scout, And again, the enemy position was far more advanced and developed than we ever expected. But to me, that was the Kriegsspiel. That was the exam. That was the test. So how do you respond to a situation where you have this plan, but then the plan is out the window the moment it starts? What do you do? And so, again, push, make contact with the enemy, push where he's weak, hold where you can. I'm really pleased with us on our left, or on our right, enemy left. Even though my orders were to assess to determine if we could push or not. So,
did you ever consider to pull a Koplov's brigade to the south to reinforce the efforts there?
Yeah, we had talked about moving units one way or the other, but the issue is I was afraid that pulling units off one side or the other would be robbing Peter to pay Paul, so to speak, and that it would take too long for the units to get to the other side to be effective. So I just figured it is what it is. Again, if we have extra units on one side, that means we're just that much stronger, so we should be using that to push. The problem I felt that we ran into is we did not have the tactical control I think that was necessary to pull off such a plan. Mm-hmm. We're corps commanders. We have to be corps commanders. We don't get to be brigade commanders here or even division commanders. So I tried to articulate that in my orders as best I could. We also had a lot of discussion on our side about what do we do? Are we losing? In fact, right from the outset, I think the cage got rattled and there was some concerns that we were losing from the outset, or that the situation was not what we expected it to be. What do we do now? I have the experience, I think, to kind of fight through that and push. Mm-hmm. But we were not certain if there was a big French army behind this that was coming up and we're just going to get steamrolled. So we actually had discussions about falling back and retreating to positions in the north. But while my comrades, I think, were pretty much there, they were ready to give that order, I was not. And my contention was we don't know enough about what we face, but they don't seem to be pushing us. So that suggests to me that either we're the stronger of the two. At the end of the day, I think I didn't want us to talk ourselves into defeat. And I'm glad that we didn't. Of course, I don't know if this is technically a French victory or a Habsburg victory, or maybe it's neither. But I didn't want us to talk ourselves into defeat. That being said, had the French started to push on us hard and inflict losses on us, we would have had no choice but to fall back, because the primary objective, which is at Crossroads, is already in their hands. Mm-hmm. So that's an issue for us anyway.
Right. Yeah, I'm not quite sure who would be the winner in this situation either. I guess, it would probably come down to how long the French can hunker down in Rivoli and then maybe get out through the hills there. And then by then, hopefully, more divisions arrive to reinforce the position there. But yeah, who knows when they will arrive, right? So, okay. Let's maybe hear some of my assistant umpires, your impression of how the game went, maybe some opinions on the orders that were given, but also on the system, as for all of us, that was the very first time running this one. And we already chatted throughout the game a few times about things that could be more streamlined, of course, and where the tracking could be more simplified and what have you. Any opinions on that? Cossack, maybe you did. It was your first time assisting, actually, and then you just jumped into such a crazy game here with such a stressful turn frequency. What did you think of that?
Yeah, it was interesting. I'll admit some of my newness might have showed. I guess if you want to think about it in a realistic sense, maybe like Lepte was a bit more fresh into combat. So I might have sent a few So a few letters might have been sent that might have been a little panicked, but after a while it seemed to flow nicely. I can't remember who it was, but I think I have to thank Tunis for helping with the dice roll in the South. I think it was Tunis anyway. Yeah, it was an interesting experience, to be sure.
Okay. Tunis or Felix, any opinions?
Yeah, I mean that was great. This was the first time any of us have done this kind of Kriegsspiel, and it was interesting. It was fun. I think a challenge for me was trying to be realistic, or that I kept having to remind myself that I'm not a player in this. I'm an umpire. I'm not necessarily trying to win per se, any more than what General Leblay would have been trying to win in this situation. So I was trying to make realistic choices. I was trying to be realistic in my dispatches, and obviously as an umpire I can see the whole board, but when I see infantry marching towards me, I can't say, oh yeah, it's 10 battalions. It's half the Austrian army. So, that was trying to be realistic was key, I think, in this experience.
I have to agree. And one of the things I noticed I had to be careful about earlier was in between the mountains or the hills and where the other brigades were down south. I realized that there must have been some level of miscommunication between those battalions, so I had to keep that in mind, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Even though they were given substantial orders.
Yeah, I
I
think
will
one.
say something, just to say that something Volko said. The French, whether it was a defeat, I don't know. I think it could have gone either way, but the French team definitely set it up to where if it was going to be a defeat, it would have been a very soft one. You guys were definitely in a position to withdraw if you needed to, very, very neatly. And so if that would have happened, I think it would have been a very, very neat victory, or very neat defeat, rather, in that sense.
And with that, I have to say au revoir. Thanks all. This was fantastic. Fantastic work, umpires and Jan and teams. I enjoyed it very much and learned a lot. I've got to run.
Thanks, Volko.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Volko.
Great evening.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry, my internet cut off there for a second. I rehost the table.
I think one thing that is interesting in this kind of system is that if the umpire as the brigade commander is in combat, then you are so busy rolling dice that you have absolutely no time to write report, which is kind of realistic, right? In the middle of the combat, the brigade commander wouldn't sit down and write the dispatch.
And at the same time, we kept sending messages to our brigade commanders to tell us what's going on when they had the least time to actually do so.
Yeah, I remember that was even when we would send dispatches, kind of asking for the sit rep or give us more information on what the size of the enemy, or even, do you need help? Do you need reinforcements? We kind of considered while we were sending those orders, based on the brevity of the messages that we were receiving back, that they weren't really in a position to provide fidelity or precision of detail that we were looking for to try to support them, and kind of just protracting the chaos, I think was really well done. In the fact that they were trying to send messages, but being very quick, very brief in the kind of information that was shared back to us seemed pretty realistic.
Your haiku battle reports were very.
Yeah, maybe.
That's often That's often something you need to rein in when you're an umpire for players. You know, the people on the battlefield, you're sitting on the back of a horse with a lead pencil. You got bullets flying all around you. You might be galloping, so writing, a novel isn't exactly an option.
Yeah, I guess
Thank
what
you.
would relax the situation a little bit would be doing 4-minute turns and then sort of still track the messages in real time, but I'm not quite sure how that would work out.
Well, I didn't have the stress of being an umpire. I like the real time aspect because in a lot of games you have this false sense. Well, it's the next turn, so I don't have to think until the next turn. Here, stuff would come in, or we'd see that Jan is typing, and then we go, "Oh, is it good or bad?" And I really liked that. That was fun. The thing that I think we faked ourselves out is, in our own map, we had our units and we would move them, but we'd move them where we'd want them to go. And very quickly, where we wanted them to go and where they were became clear to us. We're not one and the same. And so we created this illusion of precision that just didn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, even as a commentator, going backwards and forwards between the rooms, I mean, it was very interesting to see how not disconnected, but I mean the fact that the difference in time for information coming back to command and how to react. I mean, by the time you got the information, it was already out of date, and what you were doing next, and how, I guess, behind the curve you can really get very quickly. And even me and James kind of touched upon, that's one of the reasons why maintaining the interior lines is so important, and making sure that information gets passed along quickly. But no, it was fascinating to kind of comment on and to observe and be that kind of eye in the sky. I encourage you all to go watch the tape.
Great. All right. Well then,
I'm gonna post my recording, assuming it came out right. I don't know if I did OBS correctly, but if it came out correctly, I'll be posting that as well to YouTube.
Okay, cool. Well then again, thank you very much for joining us today, be it as player or be it as assistant umpire. Much appreciated, and we hope to see you in another game very soon again. There were certainly several points for me to think about regarding this system and try to streamline it further. As Felix started out before the game when we met up to take a look at the rules, well, I thought you wanted to streamline this. So, yeah.
I think you guys did a great job, and it was a real privilege to be a part of it. So thank you very much.
Absolutely agree. This was so much fun. Thank you for doing this, Jan, and
Sure.
International Kriegsspiel Society. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anytime.
It was great to have all of you.
All right.
Well, then.
Everyone have a lovely evening.
Same to
Thanks,
you.
guys.
Have a good one. Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah,
Bye-bye.
do you
Bye
want
for
to
now.
pop into the
Thanks,
commentary box for 2 minutes as like a little quick debrief?
Sure.
Yeah, sure. So how did you think it went?
Well, I believe it went fairly well, considering that all my assistant umpires did this for the very first time. And heck, I did it run the system for the very first time. So we were, of course, going back and forth. And well, did I do this right? And then I had a looping timer set up, right, for the 2 minutes. And every 2 minutes would go ding dong on my headset, and I would say, "It's next turn, move your units, guys," and so forth. And flying back and forth around the map and keeping track on how many turns it would take the messages to arrive and so forth. But still, I believe we did some mistakes. That was regarding loss tracking or regarding applying sort of modifiers to the die rolls and so forth. But in the end, I think it didn't matter that much. It still sort of played out in a reasonably plausible way, based on the system and on the actual tactical situation. Certainly, the artillery needs to be nerfed a little bit, and well, again, the tracking needs to be simplified because there is disruption. There is heavy disruption. Then there's when a unit has to retreat or is beaten or is completely beaten. There are time intervals in which it may not defend itself or it may not attack the enemy, and you have to keep track of that. And all that kind of stuff should be easily accessible for the assistants to keep track of that. So
my players had a really hard time because right from the very start, they were surprised and they had a hard time recovering from that surprise, I think. They were expecting a more tactical level engagement when we were playing at corps level, staff level. So even I was a little surprised, but again, for me, knowing Kriegsspiel, that's the test. That's the game. You know, how do you react to the surprise is what's really, that's actually the game.
Right.
You know, they had a hard time with that. They really
That's
did.
interesting. They were both practitioners, weren't they?
Yeah, but see, they play modern and different, you know. And I think a lot of professional modern day war gamers and practitioners, you know, they expect less fog of war. They expect more rapid communication. They expect, you know, just everything in the modern day works a little better than it did the Napoleonic era. And I think that shocks people. You know, wait, I don't have control. Wait, my cannon can't fire over the heads of our guys. You know, no, they can't. You know, you need to. Yeah, it's different.
And it was interesting to go backwards and forwards. We have being that eye in the sky to see the different tones of the staff at any one time. It was fascinating.
I was trying to be the voice of reason and sanity, and you know the other guys were fine. You know, just they were surprised, and I don't think they ever felt like. I don't think they felt comfortable with the game or the situation they were in, because it was so like 180 degrees of what they expected or what they're accustomed to.
Well, objective achieved then, right?
Right. Yeah. And you know, where people might like, well, that's awful. That's horrible. No, that's war.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, this is, you know, that's it. I mean, how many people, you know, they do well in academic study, and then they get out in the field and they're in combat and they're like, what do I do now? You know, you're overwhelmed. You're trying to drink from a fire hose. And so that's why I think it's important to have, I guess, some veterans matched up with some newcomers and to kind of, you know, guide them and show them the way and tell them, no, you're fine. You're fine. You know, point this way, keep shooting, you're fine, you know, because they thought that we were just up the creek. And I'm like, no, actually, I bet you the other side has terrible problems. You know, I bet you they're shocked and surprised as we are. You know, don't talk yourself out of victory. You know, there's a lot of that.
Well, I think I'll probably end the stream here. I mean, unless you both got any kind of final thoughts, and are we going to play this type of system again anytime soon? I kind of hope so. I quite like the whole staff thing. There's been a few games recently where, you know, I've kind of done sat in on, you know, a kind of more staff kind of format, but and yeah, it was certainly really enjoyable to see it from my angle. But yeah, any final thoughts for the stream, guys?
I really liked it. I felt that the scenario was very well put together. I think it was an excellent scenario. And it was a real challenge to play at the staff level and not have individual players that I could trust or rely upon with boots and eyes on the ground at a forward position to make a decision. Now I'm relying on these reports. It's very different. I liked it. It was good. It was spicy.
That's great to hear. Yeah, I liked it too. I think it's, as we said in the debriefing, it might, even though it's sort of a different way of playing Kriegsspiel and different kind of control or perceived control, at least, I think it's more welcoming for new players to not be sitting 4 hours in front of their screen all alone, right? So instead have someone to discuss with, and then have someone like Marshall, who's more experienced with Kriegsspiel, and says, no, come on guys, think about this and that. So that also increases the learning effect of the whole game, which I quite like. We will definitely see this system again. I will be trying to put some brain grease into it and try to streamline it further without making it meaningless, so to say. Because there's a whole lot of stuff, as I said. I mean, the historical rules are like 40 pages or more.
Oh God, yeah.
And we were operating on basically like 5 pages. So, but still, yeah, if the umpires are not used to the system, all the additional extra rules and what happens if this and that, and where should I apply this die and so forth, that takes too much effort to run it easily. At least you need to run it efficiently for a longer time than we did today, I think, and with a larger scenario, more forces. You need a team of umpires that has played this kind of system several times before and knows what they are doing. But still, I think it was a great experience. So did the players say, at least, and I was very happy that we had practitioners and YouTubers and guys from the miniature scene and so forth all together to connect and exchange their perspectives. That's always a great thing. I hope to run these kind of games with folks from all different sort of backgrounds more often.
All right. Well, tomorrow we'll talk to Miles about this game and other questions. So, yeah, we have that interview with LittleWarsTV tomorrow. So I'm looking forward to having them on our show.
Nice. Well, I'm going to end it here and let you guys get back to your evenings and afternoons, I think.
Thank you, Dave, for commenting today.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, Dave.
We'll see how...
Thank you for letting me play, both of you. Yes.
Yeah, I'm not so sure I did a fantastic job, but no, it was nice to have James on to bounce a few ideas backwards and forth and what have you. It's always good to see both sides of the coin of any argument when you've got commentators and stuff. But yeah, thanks, guys. Thanks, Jan, for running the game. It was really nice to see it happen. And yeah, for anyone who's made it this far in the video, give it a good thumbs up. And I guess we'll see you on the next one, yeah?
Thank you, Dave.
Bye-bye.
Catch you soon. Every time Dave would pop in, he'd ask, what do you think is going on? And I'm like, oh, crud. I'm probably just wrong about everything.
I don't even know.